Hello and welcome to World Today. I'm your host, Marie Cato. No rest for the wicked, as they say, and China is busy, busy, busy. If it's not the foreign minister disappearing, or Xi Jinping rubbing shoulders with Russia or the Middle East, or top officials celebrating Armistice Day in North Korea, then you've got to be working on your nuclear weapons. Today, I will be attempting to get to the bottom of China's nuclear expansion and diversification in the company of Jagannath Panda, head of the Stockholm Center for South Asian and Indo-Pacific Affairs, and Brent Sadler, Senior Fellow for the Center of National Defense at the Heritage Foundation. But before we dive into those questions, I would like to show us a little bit of this footage.
Beijing is undertaking a significant expansion and diversification of its nuclear forces. In recent years, China has been developing a nuclear triad consisting of land, sea and air forces. Moreover, the construction of hundreds of new intercontinental missile silos and the development of new nuclear weapons have raised further concerns about the country's nuclear doctrine. At a time of intensifying competition for diplomatic power, involving primarily the United States and China, these events raised questions about the future of peace, stability and security in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. Over the past few years, there has been an increase in the land-based ICBM nuclear forces of the PRC, stationed in underground silos and mobile launchers and under the command of the PLA missile force. It was estimated that China has about 20 ICBM silos and 100 road-mobile ICBM launchers, with the operational number of nuclear warheads in the 200s. These numbers began to change rapidly. At present, it is estimated that the PRC is building at least 300 additional ICBM silos at 3 new missile fields. According to the Pentagon's 2023 assessment, China now has more ground-based ICBM launchers than the US. More worryingly, these new Chinese silos can accommodate a state-of-the-art DF-41, which can reportedly carry as many as 3 multiple independently guided return vehicles onto a missile. Taking into account the estimated number of 400 nuclear warheads in China, it is expected that there will be as many as 1,000 by 2030 and 1,500 by 2035. These figures put the PRC on equal terms with the 1,550 nuclear warheads that were allowed for use by the US and Russia under the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty of 2010.
First of all, gentlemen, welcome to World Today. I'd like to begin with my first question. So reports suggest that China is increasing its nuclear weapons development in an active collaboration between Russia and China. Are these immediate signals concerning for the rest of the world? Because after all, the modernization of China's military has been happening for decades, really, and only really now China is playing catch up. So my first question, I'd like to ask this question to both of you. Brent, could you answer this question first?
Oh, thanks again for having me on. So there's actually a couple parts to this, just focusing on the nuclear weapons and the strategic deterrents that are associated with them. For China, it's been characterized as a breakout. The 300 additional intercontinental ballistic missile silos that were uncovered being built in the Gobi Desert came as quite a shock, and one must assume that they already have the nuclear warheads produced in what had been uncovered a decade earlier, massive underground defense industrial complexes. So one has to assume that those are armed, or will be very quickly armed, missiles. And that goes in addition to medium and intermediate range ballistic missiles that the Chinese have also developed. Most ostensibly the one that's being touted as a carrier killer to attack U.S. aircraft carriers. But I'd also add that there's a second category that's also becoming much more destabilized, and we're seeing it play out in the threats coming out of Moscow over the war in Ukraine, and that is tactical nuclear weapons. The United States and its Western allies have largely walked away from that element of the nuclear deterrent ladder, and it's leaving a gap that, if not addressed, actually creates greater instability in nuclear deterrence writ large. It's no longer a Soviet versus the US, it's a multilateral problem, which is much more complex than it ever was in the Cold War. So China's breakout in 2021 with its ICBMs is just one part of a bigger problem, and it is a significant issue in questions going forward of how do we maintain nuclear deterrence in the future.
Jagannath, what are your first thoughts upon this news?
I think we have to look at the history, the way the Chinese are expanding their nuclear capabilities and arsenals. I think there are three things, specific things we need to really talk about here. One is the nuclear doctrine per se. If we try to study the China's doctrine theory, it has been continuously evolving for the last two decades or so. And this is evolving under different presidencies. We have seen from the time of Jiang Zemin to Hu Jintao to Xi Jinping now. The second thing is that I think, as you rightly pointed out, there is definitely a surge in numbers. So the arsenal components are expanding. Earlier, we could only see only land-based missiles, land-based arsenals. Today, we see land-based, maritime-based, air-based arsenals are there, which is giving credible, capable, deterrent strategy to China and also first strike capability. The third thing is, I think, what is interesting here is to know that China is also expanding its information warfare theories as well as strategic weapon system, which are new, which are contemporary, which are very sophisticated and modern. So therefore, we cannot only talk about the nuclear capabilities and warheads in isolations. We have to talk about doctrine, the arsenal, the way the numbers have expanded from land-based to sea-based to air-based, and also the new strategic weapons which is evolving from time to time. With Russia, there has been a continuous effort for last 3 to 4 decades, not only with Russia, but also with some authoritarian powers, including North Korea. If we try to understand North Korea's nuclear pattern, there has been a significant Chinese hand and also Russian hand. So China and Russia have collaborated on the nuclear issues for many decades.
Indeed.
This should not surprise us, but definitely the number of warheads are surprising, and those are significant issues for the regional security.
Indeed, I think now there's a sense whenever you hear about China, you think of Russia in the background. You hear of Russia, you think of China in the background. And not only now, after the recent news of North Korea and the trilateral meeting with China and Russia, you think of more. It's not just China, it's not just Russia, it's not just North Korea, which actually brings me to my next question. We know of China's nuclear development, in some ways, it is catch-up, but at the same time, what does that actually mean in that sort of realistic and practical sense of balance of power? Can you tell us what that actually means in that sort of realistic landscape? What does that actually mean, Jagannath?
I think in the realistic sense, definitely the Chinese are catching up with the United States of America. And I think their main target is how to close the gap in each and every sector of the military when it comes to comparing with the US capability. And I think there the Chinese are making a steady progress. But what is really more worrisome is, I think after the 2015 and 16 reforms and restructuring of the PLA, we do see a structured game plan in terms of advancing not only the nuclear warheads through the land-based system, but also to have a comprehensive nuclear capability with the Army, with the Navy, and also with the PLA Air Force. And that is what is worrying, which is actually making the PLA the most powerful army in the regions, particularly in the Indian Ocean regions. Today, if you see, the PLA is actually coming deep into the Indian Ocean, and that is another huge concern for the regional countries, including India, Taiwan, Japan, apart from the United States of America. So these capabilities are definitely worrisome, and this definitely poses severe challenges in times to come for the region.
Brent, what is your take on that? Do you agree?
So there's a few things I'd add. I don't necessarily disagree with anything that's been said. One, I'd add that there's very little insight into what China's actual nuclear doctrine is. There is some insights because it has a Soviet legacy, a common doctrinal legacy there, but there's really no insight as to how the Chinese leadership in Beijing would actually respond to or actually use the positioning of its forces in a nuclear kind of brinksmanship. We don't have that history or that experience, and the Chinese are not open to dialogues on that. As far as the weapons, I mean, it's clear that it's a trajectory to meet or to exceed the weapons capacity of the United States, but also to go beyond that of even its neighbor and potentially another adversary in the future, once again, Russia. And it's leading them to two things. One, a very advanced command and control architecture. Right now, the conventional and the nuclear command and control are intertwined. So it becomes very hard if we get into a crisis with China to signal that we're not going after nuclear assets, which if we were, it would become highly escalatory. So that is a very complicating factor of how they're building this. The other one is there's a lot of speculation that the Chinese have already moved to, though not publicly stated, what's called launch on warning. And this means that the Chinese, once they perceive a nuclear threat is imminent, they will launch their weapons in defense right away. And they're putting in place the sensors to do just that. And they have the weapon systems at numbers to also follow through on that threat. That would also be a significant change to the landscape, the nuclear strategic deterrent landscape globally, if the Chinese actually have moved to this launch on warning posture.
And what about non-proliferation talks? Is there any possibility that we can approach this issue anytime soon?
I'll go ahead and take that one a little bit. The Chinese during the 90s, the 2000s, never saw it in their interest to engage in any discussions, meaningful discussions on proliferation. And only in the last few years, when nuclear weapons proliferating to partners or potential adversaries, rivals, did they actually take an interest?
Bring my man back.
It's come and gone.
Bring my man
over
back.
The nuclear program in India. It's come and gone over the nuclear program in North Korea. And as was mentioned, it's almost active support today. And then, of course, Iran, which also suspicions that it's to China's interest to have these nations having a modest but lethal nuclear capacity. The only way that Beijing enters into real terms of non-proliferation update.
Can we just comment? Can we just comment on the fact, little bitch boy, when I was on his stream yesterday, I don't know, he was talking about why does Vlad Vexler, in one of his videos, he responded to Anna from Ukraine, but he didn't respond to Thompson ever. So Thompson was like, hey, why is Vlad responding to Anna and not responding to me? And I was like, Thompson, maybe, it's because she is actually having interactions with a man. Like, when he mentioned her during his video, he mentioned that she responded to his tweet. Maybe you should go and respond to his tweets too, so he would be able to notice your existence. And he was like, no, fuck Twitter, I will not be using Twitter, I am Thompson, do. And now he's using it, so, maybe he starts using it for other shit too, and maybe then Vlad actually speaks to him. But, yeah, I'm waiting for him to post something. I just went to his, Twitter, I'm seeing nothing new there. Yeah, seeing the Prigozhin meme, seeing one retweet after that, and I think that's it. He doesn't really have a lot of activity. he didn't really do a lot of shit. Holy crap, look at this. That's a lie, look what he did. Okay, I changed my mind. He was using Twitter perfectly before too. Thank you, Thompson. Hey, yo, Slippers, how's life?
Is if it's in
hey,
China's
I had to update my bot.
And right now, there doesn't seem to be a clear picture of where a non-proliferation position on the part of the Chinese Communist Party makes sense for them.
Jagannath, what's your take on this?
I would agree with that take. In fact, I would add into by saying that in fact, this whole debate of non-proliferation, we need to understand from the way the Chinese have been approaching the debate when North Korea was about to become a nuclear power. when North Korea was just going for the nuclear test, the Chinese did not want North Korea to become a nuclear power. In fact, the Chinese wanted North Korea to be reliant
Who
on
are the
China
nice
on the
people you
nuclear
speak
power.
of?
And that time, the Chinese were actually
Not
talking
me.
about, non-proliferation issues. But today, I would agree with that point that with my co-panelist here, that today they would not really talk about the issue, primarily because it does not really suit their interest. Today, North Korea has become a nuclear power, and they could not really stop North Korea from becoming a nuclear power. So it does not really serve the Chinese interest. And today, the Chinese would actually go for advancing their nuclear capabilities, keeping in mind they have a target to catch up. That is the closing the capability and capacities in the military doctrine,
You're gonna
to
go broke?
warfare, to war fighting
I feel
strategies
ya.
with the United States of America.
You know what's the
including
best
in the
thing?
technology
Listen.
field.
So we have this.
So okay, I got half my paycheck though, so I think that's the first thing that I should be commenting on as like a thing to point to the fact that I'm not actually just bad with money. I worked for half a month. Well, I started working on 15th, right? So I worked for half a month, my first month, and I got half a regular paycheck, and I spent all of it. And then I think 2 days ago, I got a bonus. Basically, there's a bank in Croatia. If you have an account in the bank and you invite someone else to make an account in the same bank, you both get 50 euros on your accounts. So I did that. My mother had a work account there, so when I was getting a job, she like invited me to go there. So we both got 50 euros, and I used that too. I'm like broke now. I joked at Thompson that I'm just waiting for my paycheck to sub to him when I was in his stream, and I wanted to make it into like, ha ha ha, Thompson, some of us are broke. No, dude, I'm actually like fucking broke. I'm counting the days. The paycheck should be here any day. I can't survive like this. This is hard. This is just hard. Tensions between Poland and Belarus continue to escalate. Polish combat helicopters patrol the Belarus border, armed and authorized to fire without hesitation. This response follows airspace violations by Belarusian military helicopters who flew low and undetected. Ooh. Poles, what you gonna do? Slippers, what will you do as a country which is soon to become the next superpower in European Union? I await your response. I await your reaction. I await you personally to go and jump on these planes or something similar. Come on, do it. Ooh. Airspace violated. The Belarusian side had previously informed the Polish side about a training. Border violation incident occurred in Białowieża area at a very low altitude, making it difficult to detect by radar systems. Ooh. Hey yo, DB, how's life going? How's everything? Why is Slovenia trending in Croatia? Oh, okay, because of the flooding. Oh, I thought it was going to be something unsafe of work. Yeah, Slovenia is flooding right now, guys. So, I don't know where you are, but good luck, because apparently this is supposed to be coming here anytime soon. When you say it's horrible outside, what do you mean? How would you define? Wait, where is my mix it up? I need to remove the chat from it. When it's on this screen, like this. It's looking positively grayish. Nothing's flooding though, so like I'm waiting for it to be flooding. I'm waiting for your losers to go down. In Slovenia, actually, the river that's flooding is Sava, which, like, listen, Sava's gonna come here, it's gonna go into the Danube at one point. Danube's gonna flood Serbia very, very soonish. What you're about to see is like the best Croatian victory day ever. Heck yeah, my dude, Drava going up means Dunav going up. Dunav going up means fuckers on the other side of the river are not having a good time. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna be celebrating. I'm gonna be playing Thompson or whatever. Get wrecked, bitches. Heck yeah. I'm I'm already seeing them bitching about the victory day, so it's gonna be enjoyable. Gonna be having parties high up on the mountain. Like, hey, yo, my dudes. Tops and yeah. Does he do? He does do singing. He does do voices, right? Maybe I could make him do that. 6,000 Russians from... Hey, I saw something about that. It's those who didn't pass the test, right? I didn't see news about this, but I saw... There's this one Russian on Twitter who was... you did stupid in replies with me, and I went to check their accounts, and one of the parts was them liking a reply or something. I don't know, something like related to that piece of news. So I learned about it because some Russian dude was bitching about it on Twitter. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna wait for the stream to look it up. So now here it is. He said he'd sing it for me if he could have another go with my dad. Well, DB, how do you feel about that? Is your father willing to sacrifice for a greater cause? Latvia asked to leave after he got to go with his mom. He's super sensitive and will ban you. What, really? Am I not allowed to say that I'm banging Thompson's mom, but he's allowed to be banging my mom? Why are we not allowed to share moms? How does that make sense? Why is he allowed to bang my mom, but I can't bang his mom? That's not fucking okay. That is not fucking okay. Thompson being a little discriminatory bitch. I'd show your mom. Look, it's... like, you gotta be open to sharing your mom if you're open to sharing someone else's mom. I'm just saying. It's like, you can't be like that Russian dude. Do you remember that Russian dude in the interview who was like, oh yeah, it's good if women become prostitutes? And then XQZ goes, huh, even your daughter? And the dude's like, no, not my daughter. But like, it's good if more women become prostitutes, but not my daughter. You know, that's very hypocritical. You can't do that. Either it's good or it's not good. In the same way, either, you know, fucking other people's moms is a thing that you're normalizing in society, or it isn't. And, I'm just saying. Up to 6,000 Russian citizens in Latvia are expected to receive official notices next month asking them to leave the country. Oh. You could hire your daughter. I actually, though, I operate from the position of... I have an... How to say this? I have a healthy amount of judgment towards people who pay for sexual services. So for me, creating a type of a world where they would be feeling very uncomfortable looking at prostitutes because they don't know if a prostitute is someone they know, I feel like I would be okay with it. Like, I want you to be fucking uncomfortable. I want you to feel slightly scared whenever you go and purchase these types of services. I want you to feel slightly dirty. I feel it's, I feel it's good. So I don't even know why. There's something about the whole objectivization thing that just grosses me the fuck out. It just grosses me out so much. Because I know some men who not really legally, but illegally have been using these services, and I discriminate against them strongly, my man. I discriminate against these types strongly. The ones that I do know are, you know, like incel mindsets. I think an incel, but like an incel who is having sex. They're not involuntary celibate, but they still have this weird view of women and this obsession with women and obsession with claiming women's sexuality. So far, every single one of them that I've talked to has turned out to be one of those men who also hates, for example, when streamers like Amaranth exist. He hates when women with OnlyFans promote themselves around, but then at the same time he's like paying for OnlyFans because he found these women around recommended. they're very okay with using those services that leak you OnlyFans photos of women, so you don't even like have to pay for them. Sometimes you can apparently just go to like Reddit or whatever, and you get these pictures illegally, shit like that. So I don't know. It's like very unhealthy views. So far, I haven't met one of them who was a man that I would feel safe around. I don't know if that makes sense to say. But they've been really, really, really weird on like just the conversation about women in sort of a way. Also, usually, so far, now I haven't met many of these people, so it may be like survivor's bias. But every single one I have met has been the type of a person to intentionally, I don't know how this sounds in your language, but to intentionally use the word for female towards women. Intentionally, like in every sentence. They would be putting it in places in a sentence where it doesn't make sense to, but like you don't need to refer, like when you speak about women, you don't need to sometimes say women in a sentence as the subject of the sentence, right? You can just be like they or whatever. But they would make sure to always point out the subject of the sentence. And when the subject were women, they made sure to always refer to them as females. And in Croatian, it's not even like female. We don't have a word for female. We have a word for a female, which is a word used exclusively for animals. And just... It's like intentionally they speak around a woman. One of them wasn't even speaking to me, but he was speaking close to me, and I could hear him say it in every single sentence. And after a while, you're like, are you waiting for me to react? Like, what are you doing? Are you waiting for me to say something? What? Why? It's so desperate. Like, it makes no sense in this sentence structure. So yeah, I have a healthy dose of discrimination. Also, I think you can get sex without it too. Dylan streaming now, impossible. Whoa, shit! What happened? Why? Is there a God? God has been brought back to the earth. Oh, holy shit! How come? Oh, it's not hatred. It's a little bit of possible judgment, depending on how you view women usually. But I think your views towards women are relatively okay. Like, I think you had good views in chat so far, so that's interesting. That is interesting. Debating. Dobson. No, is he doing another? Is he doing one of those Trump debates? Is he doing one of those Trump debates? Because something's going on with Trump, but I don't know what. It's the big things going on in the land of USA, my dude. Big things going on in the land of USA. This is the way. Latvia, by the way, Latvia. Wait, when we use bitch, I'm actually okay with using bitch. I think it's used as a swear word, and because of that, it's less offensive. It's the same as when people use cunt. I don't really see the offense in cunt. It's a swear word, you know? It's like here when you use cunt. It's not really... But when you use female, I don't know, I would rather be called a cunt than to be called a female. Another right-wing retarded debate on Ukraine. Ah, it's on Ukraine? Oh shit, dude. Why? With whom? Do we want to go and check it out? Do we want to know? Are we scared to know? Are we terrified of knowing? I am terrified of knowing. Where the fuck am I getting some asses recommended to me? I need to start banning this shit. Like, it used to be funny for a while to get boobs and butts and asses, but like right now it's just annoying. I am a hater of asses. I don't like... It's very similar to my views on people who use these services, but also I think I have a slight bit of discrimination towards people who make this type of content. There's just something about it like, ew. I don't know, dude, I don't know. Especially when it's like that, there's just an ass in the middle of the screen. It's how to say it, you know, like when people sit in front of the camera and get their titties out, or when girls sit in front of yeah, like in those pools, and they go around with like, you know, tiny little bathing suits and stuff like that. I'm GG with it until you pretend you're doing something else. That's where it gets weird to me. Like, you know those yoga accounts which are just, you know, oh, it's like a woman teaching you yoga, but she's actually just putting her ass towards the camera the whole time. I kind of hate those. I think those are the ones I despise the most. Like, just at least acknowledge what you're doing rather than pretending you're not and pretending you're not aware of it. Or like ASMR. Ooh, I think I hate ASMR channels too. Because it reminds me of those debates. It was when I was still modding on fucking Twitch subreddit. When was this? Like 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Who the fuck knows? But they used to be having these debates over whether ASMR content should be not shown to audience who is younger than 18 years old. And so many people that are in the comments were like, well, actually, I stream ASMR, and I think ASMR is not inherently sexual, and because it is not inherently sexual, there is no reason to hide it from young people who come on the site, and they may want to enjoy this type of content. Maybe it's just, you know, like auditory simulating, whatever the fuck. And then you go to their account, and it's a woman with her humongous titties out, and she's doing the to the camera the whole time, like, girl, you know what you're doing. Just own up to it, you know? Just own up to it. Just be like, yeah, I'm having my titties out and I want you to get hard to me. Invader V, I remember first time watching Invader V, and so much of her stream was just her being like, haha, dudes, it's so interesting that you're typing so fast in chat, because that actually shows that you have both hands on the keyboard, and that's like interesting if you're watching the stream. And I was like, yeah, okay, respectable. You know, men are jerking off to you here. I can kind of respect the fact you're aware of what you're attempting to do here and not pretending not to, you know, put your ass on the screen all the time. I may be having insult takes. Who the fuck knows? Maybe insults are sometimes based. Maybe sometimes, you know, men with sad sex lives and very, very cold beds are actually kind of based. Okay, Latvia decided to ask Russian citizens living in the country to undergo a mandatory Latvian language exam. Listen. You're not an insult, though. You're gonna get better. It's going. You just have to trust in yourself and go get that pussy. Go. You want me to pay you one of those monthly services to go and get PhD with Andrew Tate, pimps and hoes degree. He says it helped a lot of people. Handcrafted, made in bathtub. Ooh, but yeah, you're gonna go blind from that shit. Don't do that. Come on, please, please don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to anyone. Though for real, when it comes to like homemade beers, I learned a lot of people recently are trying to make homemade rakia around. It's like a new trend. I don't know how I'm feeling about like a bunch of people deciding that now is the time to be making rakia homemade. Like, I don't really trust you. I don't really trust them. Oh, you can make you blind. There's something. What is it? Who knows components in alcoholic drinks? That's one of them that makes you go fucking blind. It's also why certain alcoholic drinks may fuck up your sight. There was one of them that was like specifically dangerous for this, and I can't remember it. That like if made shittily, it's gonna mess you up, just like Vapen. Oh no! Did you know there's a documentary shown to kids in religious classes in Croatia or at least it was shown to them 8 years ago, I want to say, high schools, that said that there's some Buddhist monastery in Croatia where basically they found a writing, and the writing was about a Catholic priest who locked himself up in his room and masturbated for such a long time that his hands became hairy, and he went blind. And they couldn't figure out what the problem was until they found his diary, and in the diary he goes, yeah, I was masturbating so hard and it felt so good. So yeah. it's I think just a bit less fucking weird than the other documentary they also were showing in Croatian Catholic lessons in high schools 8 years ago, about how when you're trying to have an abortion, the doctor takes the like weapon and goes into woman's abdominal area, and the baby like runs around trying to hide from it. Ethanol causes blindness. People make drinks with it illegally. Ah, see that. I know there's something that makes you go blind. So don't do that. Don't do that. What's that flower that makes you go blind? You're making me remember that shit now. There's this flower, and it used to be like a makeup tool previously. Basically, you would put some milk from it in your eyes, and it would make them look nice and dilated. And then, relatively recently, we have figured out that the flower actually makes you go blind if you abuse it. So that's why a lot of older people during like medieval times or whatever the fuck were very, very bad of sight because they wanted to be pretty during their youth. So they were using blinding fucking flowers. I had a video I wanted to show you, okay? Listen. Most important thing you're gonna see today. Check out this edit. Yeah, needs Thompson, absolutely. But look at us. Ran out of beers? Why didn't you get some? Because you broke. What was that? Whoa. A coastline supremacy. Do you think Bosna has like the army parade with navy, and it's like one half of a ship, one of those little boats? More tanks than Russia, by the way. I'm just saying. We got more tanks than the Russians do. Okay, but this was 2015 because I could only find this one on 2023. And then it was looking like shit. And then I was like, It's very, very shittily edited. There is this one though, which is like a comparison of us and Serbs. It's the same fucking song again. I don't like this. Where's my YouTube? Where's my YouTube? Here we go. Defense of liberty they go. You're welcome, incel boy. Updated the bot. Basically, what you need to get from this is that here's the side that won, here's the side that lost. No matter how you view the comparisons between these, one of them won, one of them didn't. By the way, who knows more than I do on this shit? Because I've just seen him in the audience and I was like, hey, this dude here in the audience, he's doing that salute thing. I remember googling into this shit, like the different salutes, and they said that that one's like Polish. But he's doing that one, but then these ones are doing a different one. How much does it matter which one do you use? Because I wanted to find which one was proper ours, because we had some debates over like which one is proper Croatian and which one is proper Serbian, and they couldn't figure it out. And then I went to Google different parts, and I remember that one with like 2 fingers. It was said to be Polish. Going to the national emo phase. Haha, yeah. Yeah. It actually got pointed to me very recently. there's this dude in the village that I work in, and he sometimes comes around wearing like ustaše shirt, right? So I was rather confused about the dude being allowed to just do that out in the open, because it's, you know, ustaše were Croatian Nazi supporters. Hey, let me check the weather, by the way. Yeah, still good. Ustaše were Croatian Nazi supporters, right? So it's like wearing a Nazi shirt in the middle of Germany. And people pointed out to me that like no one's really going to be doing anything about this or reporting him, because most people in the village actually support it. And the way you can tell that they're supporting him is how many of them exclusively wear black shirts, because it was another symbol of our very pro-Nazi dudes. And it's actually unironically true. A lot of sus people around are just wearing black shirts at all times. It's basically used as a very similar symbol to, you know, the ustaše shirt. It's just that this one is, you know, almost unrecognizable, because you see someone wearing a black shirt, you're like, oh, this is just a normal person. But then you also learn about their views, and you're like, so that's why you're choosing to do this constantly. Oh, okay. So yeah, fucking weird. But also, I've saved a bunch of other stuff. Did I save some stuff? I wanted to save like a bunch of clips. Let me click on this one. I did save mostly stuff on the Croatia and our Victory Day, because Victory Day is tomorrow, and you need to know that Victory Day is tomorrow, and you also need to know what happened on Victory Day. But also you need to know about the attack on the Russian landing ship. And I actually saved another video on this. Here it is. It's from Arthur. So we're gonna look at that one. But yeah, one of Russian ships got attacked recently. It's not doing too well, so Russians did say that they managed to stop the attack. Turns out they managed to stop the attack, you know, by using the actual ship to stop the naval drone. So GG Russians, I guess. But the ship seems to not be doing as well as they first claimed.
Treat today. So much has been going on in the past 12 hours, because only 12 hours ago I made my last video, and still so much happened. A little sneak peek for you. Ukraine almost sunk another Russian ship. This time it was a landing ship. And not from the Black Fleet, from the Northern Fleet. Also, while we're at it, Russia violated the Romanian airspace with their drones. What? But before we get into any of that, I want to take you guys back to Russia. Here is Russia. This photo comes from Russia. And here we can see a drunk Russian man seeing a bench colored in Ukrainian flag colors. He is a Russian patriot. So what does he do? Of course, he jumps on it to destroy it, to trample it to the ground. And then what happens is what happened to Russia in Ukraine. He gets stuck in Ukraine. Pun intended. Now, my friends, I'll zoom into somewhere you have never seen me zoom in before. Let's go. Not Ukraine. We're going to Romania. See, this here is Romania.
Never zoomed into Romania before.
And the line goes, this is Moldova. And Romania has a southern border with Ukraine before the Black Sea coast. And then we see a Ukrainian settlement of Izmail right here on the Danube River, which flows next to the settlement.
Right, it's so hot here.
And on the Romanian side, we see a settlement of Ziatalcioi, I have no idea. Well, the mayor of this settlement, Catalcioi, stated that last night, when Russian drones attacked Ismail and the grain ports that Ukraine has on the Danube, they flew over this settlement, Catalcioi. And supposedly one of the drones fell into a Romanian forest.
Do you have some good pro-Russians? I have some good Russians.
Airspace. The explosions happened on the Danube, on
What's the name of that one,
side,
Maxim?
and the people from
Catalcioi,
Romanians forgive me for this name, they reported that the explosion shattered their windows, so this is a real physical damage on NATO ground. The drones violated NATO airspace, the explosion destroyed windows on NATO ground. Ooh. I would say right now, release the Poland, take them off the chains, release them onto Russia. This is clear violation of Article 5. Russia attacked the Ukrainian grain port infrastructure on the Danube and destroyed 40,000 tons of grain, which was headed to some African countries, Israel and China. A real hit for the global food security. Food prices, the wheat prices rose 4.5% immediately after the attack. So it really has an immediate global impact on the food security. It's not just a sentence, it's a reality. The Romanian government stated that no airspace violations happened and nobody has been hurt and everybody is safe. Well, this is the same that happened with when Russian missiles hit Poland, killing 2 civilians. They said, oh, it was a stray missile from Ukraine actually, and nobody said,
I love
you
this
don't have
man.
to worry. Well,
I love this
NATO
man.
really soon has to
Thank
think
you.
about if they're hurting themselves. If we're hurting
I
ourselves,
started believing
we
in
need to not
same
react to it.
theories
Russian
I believe in.
language is a language of strength. You don't talk, you do. If the opposite side doesn't react like that, Russians see this as a weakness. And I'm not reacting for the 3rd time actually during this war to violations of NATO airspace is a huge sign of weakness to Russia. This is not speaking the Russian language. This is looking weak in the Russian eyes. This is what the Romanian government really said, quote, there is no danger on the Romanian territory. Of course, there is no danger, probably, but the fact that Russia can just violate NATO airspace 3 times already in the duration of this war is an issue of itself. Not either of these times has not gotten a proper response in my eyes. And now, my friends, I'll zoom into another place that you have not seen me zoom into. And this is
Croatia?
huge. Let's go. Russian Black Sea port of Novorossiysk, right here, far from where the fighting is happening. But Ukraine has these sea drones, and Russia has their Black Sea fleet all over the Black Sea. Some of the landing ships are stationed in Novorossiysk, and this is what happened. Ukrainian naval drones drove or swam, or however you call it, all this way, hundreds of kilometers to Novorossiysk. Saw a landing ship called Alinakursky Kornik Project 775 of the Russian Northern Fleet, actually. Not the Black Sea Fleet, the Northern Fleet. It was in Novorossiysk, but it belongs to the Northern Fleet. They hit the landing ship. And on this footage, you can see the outcome. It tilted. It hasn't sunk yet, but it tilted heavily enough.
What does that mean?
One could presume that it would sink in a few hours, and it's surrounded by rescue ships. They will probably tow it to dry dock so it won't sink, but it's out of action for months at least. Russian officials, of course, stated that all of the sea drones were destroyed, no hits were scored, no damage done to the ship, but we have footage from several locations, several iPhones. Russians were actually also filming it from the shore. We see flames from the shore. We see the ship on its side almost sinking, almost tipping over. There's serious damage done to this ship, and this is no patrol ship like we saw yesterday, actually, only 1 day ago. This is a landing
Also,
ship,
fuck their
a
patrol
warship.
ships.
And look at this distance. These sea drones could have been launched from Odessa or any kind of port from the Ukrainian coastline. Actually, the last time they launched them were inside from one of those rivers. And they have to swim all this way, almost the entire duration of the Black Sea to Novorossiysk and still hit the target with 100% accuracy.
Tipping over is normal
I
Friday
admire
for
that
Russians.
capability. Beautiful to watch and beautiful to report.
Okay, fair.
And also, I have been reporting on
Russians
this
being
war
like,
for 1.5 years. I
look at
remember
the
every time
ship,
a
he looks
battleship,
normal.
warship, any kind of Russian ship was hit. I mean, yesterday it was one, today it's second one. And then
Hit more.
before that wasn't any ships for 8 months. Ukraine is really taking on the Russian Black Sea Fleet, or in this instance actually the Northern Fleet. On this photo we see what the West is very much afraid of, but what Poland is ready for. We see a Wagner fighter with the Wagner emblems and insignia posing next to a Polish border post. This is the Polish Polska, you can see it right here. Of course there's the Russian flag and the Wagner emblem. By the latest reports there are about 4,000 Wagner fighters in Belarus. The main idea is that these fighters would be a threat to the Suwalki Gap, which is one of the main points of security for the Baltic states. I'll go over it one more time because maybe some people don't know about it. This is the Kaliningrad,
I know about
and I
it.
said Kaliningrad in the last video, and you said no, not Kaliningrad, Königsberg. Yes, let's call it with its proper name. This is Königsberg, occupied by Russia. This is Belarus. This is Lithuania and Poland. So this is the Suwalki Gap, about what, 60, 70, 80 kilometers wide, so these Wagner troops would pose a threat of occupying this Suwalki Gap and this would cut the Baltic states from NATO with a land corridor. But now, since Finland is part of NATO, it's not the Baltic states anymore, it's the Baltic states and Finland being the most powerful artillery force of the European NATO countries right now. So it's not as bad as it was before Finland was in NATO.
True.
Also, I don't think the Wagner fighters would have it against Polish army. In this video, we see something funny. Russian Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu inspecting a captured CV-90. A CV-90 is an infantry fighting vehicle.
It's basically the same thing.
One of the more modern ones, actually. produced by Sweden, exported to a lot of countries, including Ukraine actually now. They're fighting in Ukraine from very recently actually. Estonia also has 79 CV90s. I've driven once in them. It's a proper good modern vehicle. And we see Shoigu inspecting it like it's like a foreign exotic fruit or something. They don't have stuff like that in Russia. They have BTRs and BMPs. That's it. CV90. Much more capable.
You know that meme?
Blat!
Unknown technology.
Of course, nothing that would change the war, but they can learn and make their vehicles more.
We need that with
But it's not a
Shoigu's stupid ass face.
They cannot like fully reverse engineer it because everything in CV90 is already known to Russia. They can just see how the West is doing things and try to apply it to their own BTRs. My friends, in this video we see an explosion of Russian Buk air defense systems about 30 kilometers from the front, near Tokmak in the southern front.
Shit, were they trying to kill some civilians again?
Well, first of all, air defense systems are very expensive and valuable and hard to produce, so destruction of one is a party for Ukraine. Second of all, the way this one goes, you need to see it. I love the Harry Potter music, but I gotta turn it down because it's problematic for YouTube. And there she goes. Look, and this is the missile. Boom, 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 goes on the ground. Whoa, yeah, you're free, missile. Go, be free. You don't have to be under the Russian yoke anymore. Look at the missile. He wants to be free and go to the space like the turret. But he cannot. He's confounded
like
to the ground.
Turret.
It's not a turret of T-72, unfortunately, although he wants to be. Look at the aspirations of this missile. I want to be a turret too. No, my friend. You have to forever be on the ground on this field. What a fun video to watch. And my friends, now we'll go over the Russian losses of the 4th of August 2023, last 24 hours. And we can see they are above the 7-day average. 640 liquidated Russian personnel. And why do we know that these come from Russian-initiated offensive operations? Because look at the armored personnel vehicles, which are also infantry fighting vehicles losses. 15. They don't use much tanks with attacking, so they use infantry fighting vehicles. If these losses are high, always the troop losses are also high because troops are inside of these vehicles. I mean, if one of those vehicles is lost, you can say about 5 to 6 Russian KIAs are immediately added. So they are doing offensive operations somewhere. They're pushing on the Eastern Front, actually. And they failed with it. Then we have 19 artillery systems, which is about average of the 7 days. We have 1 anti-aircraft warfare system, which you just witnessed, actually. You're welcome. We have 27 UAVs. Well, I think half of them come from crossing the Romanian airspace into Ismail, the Ukrainian settlement on Danube. Unfortunately, they hit and did a lot of damage. 40,000 tons of damaged or destroyed grain. Grain prices rose, and Ukrainian infrastructure was pretty heavily damaged or actually destroyed.
By the way,
Ukraine, unfortunately. Then we have 20.
Here's a reminder that they just destroyed what 40,000 tons of damage of grain. But when Putin was pretending to give a shit about African states and he was pretending that he wants to be giving them grain for free, he was offering 50,000 tons of grain, which is just like a little tiny bit more than this. He destroyed 60,000 tons of grain when he hit Odessa. So just ridiculous when you put it in comparison, ridiculous.
20 vehicles and fuel tanks and 3 special equipment. In the last video, my friends, I said that French and Britain, with their cooperation of Storm Shadow, were the first countries to allow it to be used on Crimean soil. And with this, some of the people understood that I named Crimea as part of Russia. No, my friends. If you have seen me for a long time, Crimea is Russian-occupied territory of Ukraine. This has always been clear. Crimea is Ukraine. There is no question about it. Don't ask me. Ask the Western countries. I'm as surprised as you are. Why cannot Western weapons be used on Crimea when it's Ukrainian territory? I'm not to be blamed. Blame Germany. Blame the Switzerland. I mean, they don't want their weapons to be used on Ukrainian territory, which is occupied, which is weird. I know. I don't agree with it. Now I'll zoom into Russian-occupied territory of Ukraine, Crimea, Feodosia. This settlement right here, Black Sea coastal settlement. Ukraine visited this settlement with drones again, because they like to do it. What the heck? Look at this name of this store. ZZZ. They have weird stores in Crimea. I mean, whoa, nice. Well, On this footage, we can see active Russian air
Please,
defense
Ivan,
systems
shut
in
it.
Feudossia trying to shoot down the Ukrainian drones. And I
Okay,
can
wait,
already
I
tell
know.
you, if this drone swarm didn't have a storm shadow or any kind
I
of
said it
other
out loud
missile
and I was like,
following
ah.
it, then I can say a huge number of
Had
drones
it.
perhaps were shot down by Russian anti-air defense systems, because drones are not hard to be shot
Ivan,
down.
had it.
Book systems,
Dude, I thought it was some
S-300
politician.
systems, any kind of Russian Soviet anti-air systems, they're able
Maybe
to shoot
that's
down
him.
Ukrainian drones. They are not able to shoot
He's
down
looking for a more
Ukrainian or Western missiles.
successful,
If it was only a drone swarm, maybe half of them were shot down.
career.
If they were followed by missiles, then something was destroyed.
How successful is he?
My
Not
friends,
really,
you
is he?
will love to watch this video. I think this is not a compliment made to Putin. I see this as an insult, but this is Russian entertainer Vinokur. He's speaking to Putin. Putin is listening. Look at this stance. Oh, for an older person, this is a wonderful stance, I gotta say. But I'll
Beautiful.
translate it to you.
He's trying very hard not to shit his pants.
You all know what a load of our president
He's
is under.
clenching.
Thank God he's physically fit and athletic. I was happy when I saw you on a horse and how you were climbing. I'm sorry, man. I think he means, yeah, he means this photo. Putin on a horse. So Vinokur is right now
Putin on a
commenting a
horse.
photo that came out like 15 years ago when Putin was on a horse, and that he was very happy to see it. And he's so bummed that Putin is under a heavy load. Shirtless Putin on a horse under a heavy This is getting very much on a direction that...
Yeah, no, right? He's like one of
Putin is
those...
standing there like...
See?
Putin is like, say one more word, man, you're gonna go to Gulag.
Like one of those kids,
His
like
face
he...
is like, I have to listen to it, but later...
Mommy, I have shut my pants.
Up the ramp, off the plane, because there are some leaders who kind of climb up the ramp and do not know how to greet. But you recognize everyone.
He's mocking Biden.
I'm sorry, he might mean Joe Biden, because I've seen the clips of Joe being very confused, and I think he's making fun of Joe, giving a compliment to Putin that he's such a good horse rider and knows how to greet and climb plane ramps. I mean, it's a weird thing to compliment the president for. You're supposed to do it anyway. Like, what is this? Oh my God, I'm getting
My man
off
has
topic.
not seen
Look at
those
these
Russian
photos.
calendars. Arthur
I'm
must
dying.
learn about the calendars
Oh my God.
with like monthly
Kim
quotes of
Jong-un
Putin.
also- Okay, now my friends, something for your heart and soul. In this video we see a happy Ukrainian pug doggo see his owner who is coming back from the war. Pugs know what's good for them, they remember. This pug is all like Slava Ukraini, Slava Nazi, Smert Varaham, Heroyam
Healthy
Slava.
looking pug.
Owner back, yes, I love him. Very nice video. I love seeing these animal videos all the time. I don't report on them all the time because it gets repetitive, but every time I see one, I'm gonna smile. Now, my friends, we're going to watch a video from a Russian soldier called Alexander, who is making a video
Wait,
to
you
the
shot
mayor
two of
of
his
the
events?
leader of his city in Russia, asking why he has not been paid for
A bit
killing
forced
Ukrainians,
here, man.
because the Russian Ministry of Defense
Stand-up
promises you a
comedians
lot of
tend
money
to
when you
be-
join the army. They promise you even more money if you kill the Ukrainians or if you destroy a tank or if
I
you
find
advance
they are
100
really
meters
strong
of
on
Bakhmut. There's
clips,
separate payments
but
on
when
every
you're
one of
actually a
these
part of the
achievements.
event,
He's
it's
saying he
like
has only received what? 67 pounds, I think this was the amount.
Very hit
out
and
of
miss.
What should have been tens of thousands of pounds.
But he
euros, or
has
USD,
some good
however you
hits.
call it.
He has some
Hello,
good hits.
I'm Ryapukin Alexander. I'm a serviceman of the 4th Company, 26th Regiment of the Russian Army. I am pleading to the head of my village in Voronezh Oblast. I'm living in the village of Krasnosyalovka, Voronezh Oblast. Greetings to the village head, Alexei Ivanovich. You
Good
know me very
flashbang?
well. Whoa, it's getting personal. I'd like to appeal to you with the following question. The cigarette before the question, because you know all the time in the Hollywood movies when something important needs to be said, you take a puff before. This is the movie rules, and he knows his Hollywood movies. Where is the money you promised to pay me for being in military service? It's such like a Hollywood war.
So
boy,
you
know,
are
take-
Russian.
Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Likewise, the Voronezh administration promised to pay me money. I received a salary of 8k rubles, about 67 pounds in 2 months. Oh my God, so bad. 8k every month, and I have 6 chill. Whoa, well, this guy has been productive. He's efficient as hell for a Russian soldier. What? If Russian soldiers were so efficient on the front lines, like they are with their wives, this would be a huge issue for Ukraine, but 6 children. He's not the reason Russia
Maybe
nuclear
she
is
was one of
shrinking.
those very
It's
unlucky
the
women
opposite
who
is
had
true.
like
My twins will
3
be
plus
going
3.
to the first grade this year. To dress them to school, I need 200.
Okay, twins
It's
and
so
then
bizarre
4.
to me. We're talking about taking care of this guy's kids, 6 kids, twins. You know, everybody has these issues in the West. I need clothes for my kids. But put it in the context. This guy is talking, where's my money? I need to take care of my kids. Where's my money that I was supposed to receive for killing Ukrainians? It triggers something in me. I mean, I start to feel bad. 6 kids, you gotta put them to school, you have twins, and then I remember he is asking for money for killing Ukrainians, for murdering Ukrainians. No compassion here. For 8K, I can only buy a backpack, nothing more.
Oh.
Of course, and cigarettes, because smoking. Eero Varanes promised me 150K, and you personally promised me 50K. Big sums. My wife is at home, she doesn't work, she's sitting with the children. She can't go to work, you know that. You visit me every other day. I mean, these guys are close. What? This is getting personal. Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money?
What
You
the
promised
hell?
to repair my roof. You didn't. You promised to repair the stairs on the porch. You said you'd bring handyman for this. You didn't. You see, this is how things happen in Russian society. This is a settlement. This is a mayor of a settlement. This is the citizen of that settlement. The mayor is drunk and corrupt. He goes to have a party with the citizens like, don't worry, my friends. I will repair your roof. I will repair your porch. Like that. My handyman will come. And then he doesn't do it. And this guy is accusing him of not being corrupt because in the end, the mayor is not supposed to fix citizens' roofs for the settlement's money. This is pure corruption. And this is accusation in Russia that the mayor is not doing it. So we can get a glimpse of how things work in the Russian villages or cities. It's a bizarre world. I don't even understand why I went to serve. Well, join the line, nobody does. You made promises, but these only go so far. Yeah, that's Russia. That's the whole of Russia. My friends, now is the juiciest part of the video where you hear my pronunciation, my Estonian pronunciation of your Patreon name. So put in your earplugs, protect your children's ears because they might bleed. Let's go. Papua Merdeka, Ole Jugen, Saue Punk, Magnus Geiser, Sean Ebner. Thank you very much to these 5 people.
Nice.
If you like my videos, become tier 10 and above, and I'll be butchering your name, my friends.
Nice, that
Also,
was
go
cool.
and check out my Twitter account. Most important
No, I will not.
information about.
Leave me alone. But talking about Arthur, I have seen a NAFO video about him too. So there's a NAFO 69 sniffing, and he has donated cool stuff to them.
Thank you for our Ask for Friends and Charity Fund 69 Sniffing Brigade for this well-equipped pickup car. Special thanks to Artur Reki for the car and transparent night vision device. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Slava Ukraini!
This was like 10 times louder than the entire video. Holy fucking shit. Who is editing these? Who is editing the audio levels on these? Is this on purpose? This was on purpose. This was done just to torture me. But noise. This kid's in the army. I mean, if they're about to go to first class, that's like first grade, right? That's 6 years old. They're, I guess you start preparing them early. Maybe Putin's gonna lower the age of when we can be allowing people to enter military just for this. So I feel like that could work. Hey, by the way, wait. There was a link up there I wanted to click on.
Hello, and
Are we union? Are we union? No. Now, like when it comes to like the good Russians, we can watch some good Russians, but does he have conclusions part?
like they did in the Kharkiv front, it is very difficult for them to actually succeed with this offensive as a result of this stalemate-ish process of the offensive. The Ukrainians have been unable to properly break through the Russian defenses, and as such...
Can I just point out something? He goes, Ukrainians are unable to properly break through Russian defenses. It's because they broke through them. he can't say Ukrainians have been unable to break through Russian defenses because it already happened. So he's saying properly as a way to kind of like mitigate the damage from the fact that they managed to break through defenses in some parts. So I like that.
The
I like
Western
that.
backers have seen more and more to satisfaction with the Ukrainian attempts at breaking through the Russian defenses, and are going on with complaints and asking the Ukrainians to speed up their offensive, to start with a major push, because so far they're holding back a significant...
By the way, I don't know where he's getting this. It is not true that allies are asking Ukraine to start a strong push. It is not true. The allies understand why this is going on at the pace that it has. The media has definitely been creating some sort of a situation where we are all, I think, a bit more tense, and there's comments on the speed of this offensive. But when it comes to actual people who matter, when it comes to actual analysis on the ground, when it comes to people who do cooperation, they're not trying to push Ukraine into doing something stupid, which would happen if they pushed Ukraine into just trying to do a push now, when they can't properly break the defenses, as the dude has said. No, the allies are not doing this, and if the allies were doing this, that would be weird as fuck. Some of them did make interesting comments. Most of the comments that I have seen personally have been like, yeah, the counteroffensive is going a bit slower than we expected, but, you know, it's still GG. So I'm not really... I don't know where he's getting this idea from.
Part of their offensive power, as they do not wish to waste it on these minefields ahead of Russia's first major line of defense, the formal line of defense, as is seen south of Vasilivka in the southwestern corner. So through these months of the Russians holding back the Ukrainian offensive and the Ukrainians unable to get proper results, they are getting desperate the more time goes on and the less they have achieved. So now they are going to look for a drastic measure so that they can make a major push, and that is where the Dnieper River comes in. So for a long time I
disagree with
that
this.
the Ukrainians would attempt something across the Dnieper River, but now I see that it is the only way they can attempt to gain something from this offensive. As so far we are seeing that the Ukrainians are unable to break through the Russian defensive lines. Even if they manage to concentrate a major force in the Zaporizhzhia front, it will still be difficult for them to actually break through the Russian defenses. Therefore, going around it seems to be the most reasonable attempt. If we take a look at the Dnieper River after the blowing of the Novopavlovka Dam, we can see that the crossing was essentially impossible from that time, but with a lot of rain lately, there is the possibility that it is getting refilled and that they're able to cross using boats, or if they can manage to make some sort of pontoon crossing at some point of it, essentially getting a crossing across the Dnieper River and launching an offensive through there with an elite force, that is their main goal being to cut Crimea completely from the Kherson region, and then making a major push by Zaporizhzhia, trying to cover the Russian forces from two directions and cutting off their supplies would be a...
Right. I need the map. I need this map. I need Dennis's map, which is the other one he uses.
Hello, my friends, and
No, wait. Here, this one. Because I was pretty sure. English, and now give me before and after. Here it is. Yeah, there were pushes. There were pushes, and they were quite strong pushes. I'm not sure where... Oh, this too? Recently? Yesterday. Okay. I'm not sure why he's behaving as if it's impossible for Ukraine to have successes in other areas. Okay, nothing here. Like, these are some relatively big pushes around here. So I'm not really sure why it would have to be crossing over the river. Because it reminds me that it's still going to be really hard to cross with like proper heavy weaponry. So I'm not sure how I'm seeing this. I'm not sure how valid I'm seeing this. Learning guy's voice. Who is the learning guy? who is the learning guy?
High risk, high reward sort of operation. If they fail, they would lose a major amount of their elite forces, and if they succeed, they could get massive results. So it seems that the Ukrainian goal for this offensive is still to cut off the land bridge. They're not going to haggle with that goal. They want to achieve it no matter the cost. To the point where they are willing to sacrifice everything they have of offensive powers with the goal in mind of capturing that. However, it seems to be more and more unlikely as time passes on, as they have more and more losses and less offensive power, with no end in sight to the Russian.
Hakim? Whoa! Who the fuck is that? Keffels? What's Keffels doing on Ukraine? Collins to Dylan? Oh shit, I'm scared. How bad is it? I'm kinda interested, but also I'm not sure if I am. Former socialism's faults? Is there Yugoslavia? Depopulation of Eastern Europe? I want Yugoslavia. I want to see Yugoslavia. I want to see what he thinks about Yugoslavia. Because I've learned that people believe that anti-USSR, China, other examples. I want Yugoslavia. I don't want these losers. Most replayed. Ceasing to exist. Human toll. No Yugoslavia? Why not? We were quite successful, were we not? Check this out. I grew up in Yugoslavia under Tito. We weren't necessarily communist, but we still shared characteristics, and overall it was far better than the modern system we have in Serbia now. What Serbia has right now is not the modern system. What Serbia has right now is similar to what Russia actually has right now after the Soviet Union has crumbled, after their empire has died, which is that this is a nation that has never learned how to exist. They don't know what to do. They can't be there as a state. This isn't just the fault of like Serbia. For example, Croatia had a very similar issue, which was in the years that we were supposed to be self-governing, we didn't know what to do with it. We didn't have proper institutions. We didn't have proper strength of laws in order to keep us, going in a proper way. So what we did is we kind of joined the European Union and hoped European Union is going to be solving a lot of problems that we had. And it did. It did. Serbia didn't do that. Serbia, instead of joining the West and joining European Union, Serbia decided to try and be closer to Russia, which, as a failure of a state, can't really help another failure of a state govern itself. So they're both just going down a shithole path. But yeah, of course Yugoslavia was better than Serbia is right now. this is Serbs choosing their own path, and their path is shit. And until they learn that the path towards tradition and, you know, the Eastern way of living, rejecting modernity, and until they learn that these are all just populist bullshit ideas given by politicians in order to get votes and not really have any sort of proper ideas on how to govern a country and how to create a proper economy, they will just never be able to fix it. They still fall for this shit. It's like Hungarians.
Hello.
I don't want to hear that. I want to see Yugoslavia. I just want us, my dude. I just want us. No. Purges? Okay, we had purges. We would be a good example of purges. Okay, we did some bad purges. We did some strong war crimes. Come on. Helping out Ukraine, giving access to ports. Yeah, we did something. We did something on that. Come on, we were good. Sometimes we do good stuff. Yeah, he doesn't mention Yugoslavia. Well, I'm kind of sad about that. But we were impressive of that one. On that one, I think we were quite good on that. We're also having a victory day soon, so I think that's kind of good. Last year, I saw lots of our people pointing to connections between our situation and the current Ukrainian situation, and how, you know, how the comparisons can be made, and how the way that the world has responded to our invasion could be compared to the way that the world is responding to Russian invasion in Ukraine right now. So I thought that was also really, really cool. I think we're doing good things currently with that. I'm kind of happy. In this way we're moving. I don't know. I've got some positivity for Croatia. Not so much for Serbs, because Serbs are doing rather badly right now. But hey, Croatians are doing well. Okay, so be happy for us. Like this was our post, for example, for Knin. So Knin was liberated August 1995. Sevastopol will be liberated 2023. Yay, let's hope. These were our newspapers. Večernji list it's like evening news, and we still have this one around. And yeah, this was us celebrating when a part of our country got freed from Serbs. So good luck. Croatian corruption? Yeah, it is. we actually just have another corruption scandal. I mean, at any point in Croatia, you could say, hey, we're having another new, fresh corruption scandal, and it would be true, because we always have them. But, yeah, right now we are having another one. I'm not morally too opposed to corruption. I'm complicit with corruption until, it reaches a certain level. But I think for now we still keep it in like what is, yeah, ignorable. I want to say ignorable. Having some break from politics, it can be so depressing sometimes. Yeah, I imagine that. Sometimes it just feels good, like going offline, doesn't it? That was me last year when I had a summer vacation and I was going to the seaside and I was enjoying my trip to the seaside, and then I was just thinking about the sea and how scary the fishes were. But this year I'm not going to the seaside, so no break here. Okay, you gotta be sad and that's it. Was this Belarus? Shit, are they doing another exercise? Oh. Why? Is this how they plan to invade? They're going to chunk this woman into Poland. That's going to be the start of the invasion. He just like kicks her there over the border. She flies in. Poles are like, what do we do? Do we press Article 5? Do we not? Like, it's technically an attack. PSYOPs. Now we think Belarus army is trash. Yeah, for reals. They have tricked us. So far we thought the entire country was trash, but now we think it's just the army. Why is he doing that? Have you seen that? That's like some Jackie Chan sort of a thing. And press article 5. I need assistance. Thank you, maybe. Playboy, what? You people have what? Do we have Playboy Croatia? Do we got Playboy Croatia? Surgeon, model, and TV presenter Irina Bilocerkovets, okay, who was wounded during shelling in Kiev region and lost an eye. Oh shit! My jaw broke like a branch. The bullet hit me in the head. I no longer have a beautiful face. Oh, my body is still beautiful. Holy shit, that's sad. No, in the first days of the war, the car Irina with her 3 children were in was fired upon. The doctor said Irina would not live. What the fuck? Oh, that is sad. Oh, that is sad. Playboy, unironically, Playboy has some good articles. I remember I heard about it first when I was in elementary school. I think it was like 6th grade. And you know how kids always make jokes about these types of publications? They're always like, there's this magazine, it's called Playboy, and it has boobies. And one of our teachers was like, hey, you did, like, once you dudes, like, grow up, try actually, like, buying one of these. Because, like, sometimes it ironically has, like, interesting shit to read. It, like, sometimes does. I assume it's more interesting to you losers. Doesn't really do too much, you know, the Russophobia for me doesn't really go too much into Balkan. So I don't know, I've never found it to be a convincing read, but apart from that, quite okay. Am I allowed to click on the Croatia Playboy thing? I'm gonna see some titties. I'm gonna get banned. Oh shit, what is that? Okay. Oh, it is in print since 1997. See, offers its readers best quality articles on different topics, unironically. Croatian beauties you enjoy looking at. Who wants to bet Severina is that? Is Severina is absolutely that. She's one of them. I need to buy this one just to see her. Softcore stuff, yeah, it's like, yeah, it exists, it's existing, it's there. Still impressive though, just fucking impressive. Oh shit, surgeon, model and TV presenter, what a fucking life. And then you get wounded as a result of Russian invasion on your country because your car gets shot at while you're in it with your 3 children. What the actual fucking fuck? Just yeah, no, this all pisses me off. It's supposed to, I guess. Also stuff I have to show you. Look, I saved a bunch of stuff. Okay, I saved a bunch of stuff. Oh, I saved this. You have to see this. I shared this one in Discord.
I like my coffee dark.
Come on. Would you not vote? I'm voting. I'm voting this man president of Croatia next year. President of Croatia. Once Milanovic goes out, once we kick him out, once we try to find another president to be around, we're gonna be voting for him because he's amazing. Also, Lucas posted images from the European Parliament. Did I show you this yesterday? I don't know if I showed you this yesterday. I think I showed you that he was planning to go. But yeah, basically he's in the Parliament. We still don't really know what they were talking about because it still hasn't been published, so I'm waiting for that. But I do know it was connected to Georgia and the fact that Georgia is seeking closer connection to European Union because it's trying to move away from Russia. When I say Georgia, I mean people of Georgia. I don't mean actual Georgian government, because Georgian government has been very, very closely linked to Russia. Georgian Dream is very, very closely linked to Russia. They made several very, very problematic claims on why this invasion has happened, how we should be reacting to this invasion, whether Ukraine should have seen it coming because they dared to rebel against Russia. So Georgian Dream is filled with pieces of shit, but people of Georgia are actually very, very strong in opposing them. So, you know, if more countries had people like that, I feel like we would be in a lot of a better situation. Joe came to visit Finland in summer. That was pretty cool. US president don't come here so often. Yeah, my man was that. Come on. In his age of like 500 years or whatever, he managed to come all the way around. Beautiful man. But yeah, unironically, I think he's great. I think he's doing great stuff in NATO too. So I'm kind of a fan of that. I'm a fan of that. I also found this yesterday that I wanted to show you. Russians hit Ukraine with Kh-55 missiles, which Ukraine handed over to the so-called Russia in 1999. 575 of them were transferred to Russia. You know, we were supposed to get a limit of strategic nuclear weapons at the time, which we see now how successful it was. So yay! I guess negotiating with Russia really does help you. What else did I have? Oh no, I had these, but I don't know if these are relevant. Had Operation Storm stuff saved. So Operation Storm anniversary is happening tomorrow, and it's a big, big thing. And also saved this one just because I remember us having conversations on this in chat, and I felt like this image would be useful, because next time we get some subs, I need to have it prepared. But we talked about the ethnic cleansing as part of Operation Aluya, which first off was not the intended goal of it. It was, you know, of course, once you get into the area as a military, of course, there's going to be civilians caught up in the battle, but nothing of this was intended. We did go to the international court, and the international court has proven that there was no intention from Croatian generals at the time to do an ethnic cleansing operation on non-Croatian population. But what is important is that Krajina was itself formed as, you know, just parts of Croatia which were inhabited by Serb population for most. This is what people will often talk about, which is okay. What they fail to mention is that after Croatia sought independence in 1991, what has happened is that Milosevic, along with the Serb leaders in Krajina, has started what has been referred to in international court as a joint criminal enterprise, in which they attempted to displace much of the non-Serbian population of Krajina in order to claim that Krajina is Serb land and that Krajina belongs to Serbs ethnically. So this is why between 1991 and 1992 they did a lot of ethnic cleansing on the non-Serb population of Krajina. Now, after this, Croatia liberated its lands a few years later, which I definitely believe was justified, but yeah. How to download the transcript of a video on YouTube without watching the video? Why would you... You? Ej, zdrowo, štajme. Hvala. Zahvaljujem. Why would you... What do you mean, download the transcript? Can I download the transcript? What do you mean, download the transcript? Toggle timestamp. Why do they have like 2 option buttons? Wait, why wouldn't you just like go and scroll through it? Because I do that sometimes when I'm too lazy to watch a video. I'm like, see something that I like, I read it, and then I don't read the rest of it. What did we get? I got some coffee. Yeah, all's good, all's good. I'm on my day 50 something of working. So soon about to be 60 days of work, which is 10% of all the work I have to do. So I'm quite hyped about that, to be honest. I just like counting down days to something. But yeah, apart from that, I don't really think there's anything fresh happening. I have gotten involved in some local political groupings. I got recommendations to join actual groups, like officially, but I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that currently. But I do hope to get more involved in European Union projects, which may demand me actually going to an actual political group. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. So we'll have to see. Hey, what's Dylan doing? What's Dylan doing? I need some sort of program to do it. Wait, but like then you would get it in text and then you would read it in text, but why wouldn't you just read it in YouTube? Because not only can you like just like read it normally, you also can find a part that you like and you can like watch it. 2 days off now, the same amount as number of ACs in my flat, you little bitch, you little bitch. No, the weather is actually great. The weather is... Where's my chat thingy? So I move it a bit up. The weather seems good. People aren't even wearing umbrellas. Look at these losers walking around on the street. Huh? What's wrong with you people? Nothing. There's nothing. There's no shit weather. It's gonna be nice. Baldur's Gate. Hey man, I'm thinking of taking days off to play fucking Teamfight Tactics. I've been so much into that game. It's unironically annoying. I was late on the stream today because I was late to finish my Teamfight Tactics game. It lasted way too long. I was like, oh, it's gonna what's Srp? I thought it's gonna end way sooner because I was supposed to get like, I don't know, 4th place or whatever, and then I didn't. I actually stayed in for a longer time, and I was late here on the stream, and I need to start playing the shit on stream. Like a salad cutting video, it's gonna be like, here's the news, here's Vicky beating asses in a League of Legends auto chess game. It's your destiny being part of politics. You know what's the problem though? It's like, I feel starting is very hard. Because I feel like once people know who you are, at that point it becomes a bit easier. But I don't know where to start, and it feels like wherever I have options to start, I would have to be connected to some interesting groups. But also, like, job-wise, it's a smart thing. It's another reason why I thought of joining. I could actually be getting some good jobs if I join politics. It is nepotism. It is fucking unfair. It is the reality of a world we live in. But like I could join politics and I could be getting some good jobs. And I want to get some good jobs. But then do I want to be a part of a very corrupt organization, plus an organization that is giving jobs unfairly to people who are a part of this organization? Here's a problem. Honestly, yes. Okay, it's like me fighting against my morals, but my brain is like, girl, go and join politics, go get into Hades and Mladež. I already told my parents, like I wanted to test their opinions on it. I was like, dudes, I'm gonna try to join Hades. I'm gonna become a Hades member. How do you feel about this? They have said that they are going to kick me out of the family, which was the expected response. But at the same time, like, how cool would it be to just get involved in it? I could get some good jobs. I could start being in European Union projects, which is something that I really, really, really want to do. And it's almost impossible to do, by the way, without being politically involved. I don't know if you knew about this, but it's almost fucking impossible. I tried to do... I'm still doing volunteering work on the side. So every once in a while I go volunteer on like cultural events and stuff like that, and it gets written into my volunteer book. And then as a volunteer, I get more chances to join organization of events in the future. And these events are organized as part of European Union projects, right? So you get closer to organizers, you get closer to working on a European Union project, which is a good thing. But it's fucking impossible if you are not part of a political organization. All of the organizers, like the top-notch ones, they're parts of the political organization. When last time I asked a woman, like, how did she start making projects that she wants to make? Because she made, I was on my first experimental music concert very, very recently. It was interesting. But the woman who made it, she specifically wanted to do an experimental music project in the city here, because most people here had never seen this, have never heard of this, right? So I was like, how did you get to a situation where you can choose to do this? Like, you can be like, hey, I like this band. I want to get European Union money to make a concert for this band, so more people experience this band and the type of music that I make. How do you reach that sort of a level? Because she's not known. She's not well known in the city. She's not a person that, like, you would recognize on the street. She doesn't appear on news. She doesn't appear in talk shows. She's just not a public person too much, right? So I was like, why do they listen to you? She joined a political organization. Got few steps further than, like, most of other people who were trying to do the same exact job, and by leveling up as part of the political organization, she managed to also level up as a part of European Union projects, which, like, I kind of want to do that. I want to do a lot of, like, strong events, but 15 years from Marine to get where she is now, so it can be slow and frustrating. Shit. On one hand, like, is it slow? Because at the end of 15 years, you're a prime minister? That's, like, rapid. That's like, you have to level up at least 3 steps per year. You reach the level of prime minister. To get to that, you already have to be a high-standing politician within your own party, right? For which you have to be a relevant politician in your party, for which you have to be any sort of a politician in your party, for which you have to be a proper standing party member. Like, it feels like, you know, I was nice. A regular shop assistant. We get those. Okay, I know a shop assistant who is a politician, attempting to be a politician. May not be the smartest thing. Her takes aren't really good, but she's attempting. If you think the concept was interesting, then I guess they succeeded in the experimental part. It was actually rather weird because they didn't know when they're going to start, they didn't know when they're going to end. It's one of those things you don't know if it's planned or not. They start the concert and they're like, hey, how do we start this? Just 2 dudes on a stage and they're like, what do we do? How do we start this thing? And then one is like, hey, yeah, we could start by doing this ping, ping, ping. And then they, like, play a little bit and then they talk to each other the whole time. Actually, one of them talks, the other one's, like, existing on the side. And the entirety of the concert is them having a table with a bunch of instruments and they just play whatever they feel like playing. They sing when they feel like singing. At one point, one of them is, like, breathing really heavily into the microphone. It sounds like ASMR, like he's doing some actual fucking on the ASMR, and the talking dude goes like, oh yeah, we're about to reach an ending together, and the music gets louder and the breathing gets heavier, and then it all just stops, and the audience is like, is this the end? And the dude is like, is this the end? And the other dude's like, not really. So they start playing again, the same thing. And then, like, the second time they ended, they actually thought it was good enough, and that was the end of the concert. So it was an interesting experience. It captures you, I want to say. Went through some politics, went through some societal topics. It was interesting to participate in. Most people become relevant after, like, 40 years. They become octogenarians by the time they reach power. Yeah, like, if in 5 years you could be a relevant party member, I feel like that would be very, very strong. If in 5 years you could go from a dude to a dude who's well known in your political party, and then in the next 5 years you go to a politician, right? Because you start with just being a member, and then slowly you start getting more involved, and then slowly you become getting higher. You start getting higher ranks. Like, I don't know. Impressive. People just remember her success being PM. They don't remember her grind that took over a decade together. Okay, yeah, that too. She was a barrister before politics. What nice. It's like that USA woman. Who's the USA woman? Wasn't she also something like that? Made some posters for the local party, and they were so good that I started befriending people in the executive committee. Fuck. I need to start doing that. I need to start making posters. I wanted to make some, but I haven't had time these days. I'm having a free day tomorrow. I should actually wake up early in the morning. Holy shit, I've never said this in my life, but I should maybe wake up in the morning out of choice. But I wanted to be doing those designs that you can like upload to NAFO website to be selling some shit. I wanted to try and designing for those. And the reason I wanted to try designing for those is because I saw a Twitter post of some dude whose mother's old as fuck, think like Biden's age. I don't know how old she is, I just remember in my head I was like old. And she's doing designs for NAFO. And like they're selling rather well, and she feels really, really helpful about helping Ukraine because, you know, you don't actually get anything from your designs being sold, but more cash money goes towards helping Ukraine. So it's always like good to have a wider pool of stuff that they're selling because more people can find shit that they like, and then more money goes towards helping Ukraine. So it kind of inspired me to start getting back into that shit. Being part of local politics, what everyone needs to do to get places is boring, but that can elevate you higher here. Yeah, that too. I was talking about that with we have a peculiar political situation here, where the political party in the village was very, very corrupt for a very, very long time. So what we did is we replaced them with drunkards. We knew the people replacing them are drunkards. We wanted to have drunkards leading the politics because we were like, yeah, at least they're gonna do something. And what it has created is that for, let's say, a year, these people were doing amazing work, just oof, great. They were working on restoring some community buildings. They were working on restoring sport buildings. Oh, nice, NAFO. I love how he's reading it.
V equals 1657081016.
Thank you. The Brit was trying really, really hard. The Brit was trying really, really, really hard. I need to make this bigger then. Need to do like... We are NATO indeed, and we donated for a naval drone to fuck Russian ships in the ass. I forgot where I was. Yeah, our local drunkards in local politics. Great for a year. You know what happened then? They needed to get into the boring shit. And they failed. So it's like, who's gonna be upkeeping the roads? And now a thing about upkeeping the roads is that it's not really as interesting as, you know, building a sports stadium is. So they didn't really give a shit about it. So we had no one to be caring about the upkeep of our roads. And we're a village. Some of our roads are like roads that are not even proper roads. You know, like how Russian villages actually, they do those roads that are not actual roads. Like there's no asphalt. It's just a path through dirt. We have this in parts where rich people have their holiday homes. So you don't really have an asphalt road because they want to feel like they're in nature. There's no asphalt road. They're just like a path. And you have to send a person every week or so to like mow the grass on it. So there is a path, but you'd never make the actual road. It's just a path. The politicians in question weren't really caring about this, and all of these like little roads, they got just overgrown because no one was giving a shit. You know, stuff like that. It's like the boring parts of politics they didn't care about. And it started very interesting conversations in like our social circle specifically, because we're having elections, I think next year. Interesting conversations about like how important it is to maybe get someone who's like actually able to do the boring shit, because you need the boring shit to function. You know, like we actually need the boring shit to be able to exist. It was fun when they were doing like they gave us new Christmas decorations, for example. So we had different decorations for Christmas the last few years than we had before. That was fun. It was great. You know, you come out, you're like, wow, I haven't seen this before. It's cool. But it's not really what keeps you going. Yeah, like keeps wheels moving. Yeah. It wasn't that. And I don't know. I feel like there would be a lot of places to move to. I'm not sure where to start. It would be great to start anyways, though. Stray dog problem? The college tried informing people, no one heard it. I messaged the president saying, hey, these dogs are hurting us. What if they bite me? Who's gonna make posters for you? And the local government body was informed so quickly. What? Hey, these dogs are a real problem. What if they bite me? Cringe Lord, the famous poster maker. And nice. Holy shit. The normie question? What's the normie question? What is that? What is that? Wait, let me open this, by the way. Ah! Okay, I clicked on the wrong one. I clicked on the lower one and I needed to click on the upper one. Ha! Vicky, where is your brain? As in the part... Yeah, I assumed so. Holy shit, the actual one. That would be great. I assumed it's the president of like the student body or something actually. But like, it still makes sense. Is that a beat date? Sometimes I feel how to say this. I feel like we went a bit overboard in mocking these Russians, and sometimes I look in the way people are responding to them, and I'm like, do we really need to hate them this much? But then I'm reminded of like years we spent sucking their cocks collectively. So yeah, maybe they deserve it. How do you convey nuanced political topics to normies? Man, I had the idea actually, one part of our European Union project thing, but I don't know how useful it would be. But it was to organize like public debates where you wanted to have like topics that are currently popular in politics, and you wanted to, how do I say it? The topics were supposed to be the topics that are really popular in society right now, and you're supposed to have like people who are able to explain them well. I always thought that it was going to be, you know, allowing too much contrarianism for a while, but I don't know, something, I feel like you need to do some sort of like a public event to encourage education on specific topics, and I feel like you need to do a lot of them, to be honest. You know what I'm reminded of? There was an event. It was when I was learning for European Union projects. Greece had an event in which they were trying to teach kids about global warming, and they were trying to teach them about global warming by doing like art lessons with them, and apparently the event was really, really successful. I remember one, was it Sweden? I think Sweden specifically. Sweden had an application made where in the application you would like join in, you would input your name, last name, shit like that, and the application would basically be a game. And the game would be on how good you are at recognizing misinformation. So they would be giving you the title of a like news report, you get the title and you get who reported on this, and you're about to do your own research, and then you're supposed to be rating the reliability of this report from 1 to 10. And it was the news which were like, and actually like Facebook, for example, was a source few times, so then you're supposed to be like rating it really, really low because it's fucking Facebook. But sometimes it was like actual good news. I did have to translate all of it from Swedish to English, so it's mostly using their news. It's not too interesting on that front, but it is, I think, a way to bring the topic closer. Because I think Vlad Wexler had an interesting viewpoint on this recently, that it's very hard to make the two sides of politics understand each other, but most voters, most normies, they pick a side based on vibes, right? So you kind of choose which side you like more based on vibes and energy, and that is what you go for, and you, in a way, reject learning more than that. And I don't know, I feel like we should do like these relatively simple event sort of things, because I feel like doing more of them and just kind of normalizing knowing certain things, I feel like it's improving the situation a lot. Like I was really, really happy, for example, with Croatia and our reading event we had in the city very, very recently. It was an event where you could go and you would get books for cheaper from the largest publishing houses in Croatia. So the event itself was like already quite useful, but also they had panels, and one specific panel was on Ukrainians in Croatia, and the participating members were, I know there was one Ukrainian, there was one Serb, there was one Croatian, and they were talking about like the experiences of Ukrainians and then comparing it to experiences of other Balkan people during the wars in Yugoslavia, and experiences of Croatians themselves during the wars in Yugoslavia, and how this is all, in a way connected, and how we could be helping Ukraine more, what we have learned, what were the mistakes that we made as a state, and how Ukraine could avoid these. And I like the fact that this was a conversation had at a public event, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a big fan of that. I feel like we must be allowing more of these conversations. Trans people don't exist because transgenderism is not something that exists in nature. It's something that I know is wrong, but I'm just so demoralized that I don't feel like correcting him. Yeah, I'm having the same situation here with my mother, who until a year ago she believed that trans people were just gay people who wanted not to be gay, so they switched their gender in order to be straight, right? So like if I'm a woman liking women, but I don't want to be a woman liking women because that makes me gay and I think gay is wrong, I would switch my gender to a man, and then I would be a man liking women, and that would be okay. So it's been an interesting path of trying to describe this. Like talking about my grandma, even my grandma, recently we went to Vukovar. They had an event for like celebrating the independence of the city or whatever, and there was a black man, one of the locals there. He what's the word? He's been living there for quite a while, but he was selling these like tourist little attractions. Basically, it's like wooden figures, tiny little ones. So he's sitting there and he's selling stuff. And my grandma, she asks me to take a picture with him. And I was like, why, Grandma? Do you know who this man is? Is he like some sort of a celebrity on TV or whatever? Because I genuinely have no idea who the man is. She's like, no, but look. And she just points to him, and I'm like, do you have a picture taken with this man, because he's a black man and this is the first black man you've like actually seen? And she's like so like to normies, I feel like a lot of normies are just existing on a whole different plane of reality. I heard one recently mocking one of Ukrainian refugees who came to the city nearby, because the Ukrainian refugee talked about how her building was bombed and because her building, in which her apartment was bombed by Russians, she had to leave. She didn't want to leave earlier, but she had to leave when her building was bombed. So then she traveled through like several countries in Europe, and she ended up in Croatia at the end, right? And they're talking about this, and I'm sensing them like mocking her. And I'm like, why are you mocking her? This is like, that's an incredibly sad story. What makes you go hee hee hee? And they're like, well, why would Russia bomb a civilian building? I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, they don't have like enough rockets anyways. They wouldn't bomb a civilian building. It would be a waste of a rocket. So this woman has to be lying for attention. I recently, unironically, met a man, quite old. So I don't know, probably not a proper social media user, whatever. We're having a conversation, and I mention in passing the Russian genocidal invasion. And the man goes, no, Russia's not doing a genocide. And I take him as a vatnik, right? So I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Russia's not doing a genocide. Like, what they're doing literally fulfills every single criteria of a genocide. And they're like, no, what they're doing is bad, but like, it's not as bad as what Serbs did to Croatia. And I'm like, the fuck do you mean? And it turns out this man like genuinely has no fucking idea what's going on. He absolutely unironically has no fucking idea what was going on. They thought that Russians just like came into the areas that they claim as Russian areas, like Serbs would come to Krajina, but he thought that they just kind of stayed living there. And then when the military was coming, the military stayed in these areas just to kind of help these Russians build fortification lines. But he didn't think they were attacking anything outside of it. It's basically as if like Donbass was taken by Russians, and there were a bunch of Russians moving in there, and then Russian military just came to stay there and to help these Russian citizens to stay there, right? Still illegal, but like not going and attacking the rest of the country. So I had to like show him a bunch of stuff, and he was like, oh yeah, okay, like, well, maybe, like I've learned a lot now. So I don't know. I don't know. I think getting stuff through to normies is going to be very, very hard, no matter what you do. What is this? 1,000? Based. This story, by the way, wrong. Lithuania fucking wrong. It should be Lithuania declares more than, what? How much is it? Few hundred millions. Belarusians and Russians as national security risks, every single one of them. But also, yeah, it's okay. What living in Russia today, Rock, does to you after almost 2 years. Is the best thing is like he's a local, right? He's not even living under Russia propaganda. Man just literally doesn't follow shit. And then I feel like it gives another perspective when we talk about people who don't support, for example, their country sending aid to Ukraine. I think a lot of them just have no idea what's happening. They don't know. They have no idea. Hey, I've noticed, now that you mention it, no matter how nice you are, they won't become open-minded. I think it's... what's a problem I've encountered? Sky's turning dark? What's a problem I've encountered? It feels like sometimes sky looks good. I keep on waiting for rain, and like there's never rain. I've noticed that if you don't speak to them very carefully, you become the brainwasher. Does that make sense? If you're not very careful about the way you speak to a normie, the normie is going to, like with that grandma that I was speaking to, for example, I don't think, the grandpa, holy shit, I don't think he is going to now go and like follow news himself. He's likely going to track me for information, and I don't know how I'm feeling about that. I'm having the same problem with my uncle. Because he used to be very uninterested in the whole thing, and then like he figured out that I am very interested in following the political situation, and then he started listening to like my opinions on it. But it has created a situation where like sometimes I say stuff and it feels like he's taking it way too uncritically. Like I'm gonna say shit and he doesn't even question stuff. He just kind of grabs it. And I don't know if that's what I want to happen. No, because like you're still not learning how to research information on your own. You're just using me as another source of information. I don't really think that's good. I don't really think that's a positive thing. Are you a Maoist? Oh no, not really. I just like books. Whenever I'm talking to them, it feels like I'm walking on eggshells. Oh, strongest way to change a normie is to traumatize them. How the fuck do you traumatize them? Oh no, I'm unironically NIFO. I support NIFO very, very much. It's an amazing organization, I believe. They've done great things for Ukraine, collected a lot of cash money. So yeah. Gotta avoid addressing them. But the problem is that like if you avoid addressing them, then they just gonna stay. I wanna speak to them, but like I wanna speak to them in a way that's gonna make them think, and I don't know how to do that. That's kind of the problem for me. I don't know how to do that. You're not changing the thought process, you just changed into cult leader. Yeah, like that. Like I've noticed it happens with friends too. Sometimes I say stuff and it feels like it's like with old people too. If you've ever spoken to an old person in your family, you probably know this. Sometimes you bring up something that they have not thought of before. Like my grandma, for example, when it comes to abortion conversation. She has an interesting story with this overall, but we had some anti-abortion protests in Croatia, right? And she was asking me about how I view these things, because she was like, how does youth see this situation? And I remember like the response I gave her, she would parrot it. So she would be watching protests, like on the news when she comes over for coffee. She would be seeing these protests on TV, and she would comment on these protests by parroting my words. So like she's not thinking for herself. She's just like, she heard my opinion. She was like, okay, Vicky follows politics a lot, so she is correct. And she just took it. And I see this with friends sometimes too. It's like, if you present them with a new opinion, sometimes they just grab it because it's new. It's a new perspective. It's a fresh one. It's an interesting one. So they grab it and they don't think about it. And I don't know how I'm feeling about that. I don't want to do that. But it feels like you're doing that whenever you speak to them. NAFA is very good at that. Oh yeah, fighting against disinformation, absolutely. They're based on that. They're also based on donating to Ukraine. They've donated a lot of cash money. I'm very, very happy about that. Like the naval drone donations and everything. My mom, when she figures out she's wrong about something she never thought about before, just tells me to go fuck myself. Mine does the same thing, but then she like repeats it in later conversation. It happened with a vaccine against cancer conversation we had at one point. So she used to be thinking that it's sus we have a vaccine against COVID because we don't have a vaccine against cancer. And the first time she expressed that opinion close to me, I was like, bro, what do you think cancer is? What do you think cancer is? And I explained to her what cancer is, and she gets angry. She's like, fuck off. We're not gonna have a conversation about this. She stops the conversation, fucking leaves, because of course she does. And then a few days later, she's having a conversation with someone in the shop about one of our politicians. The politician in question said that it's sus for him that we have a vaccine against COVID, but we don't have a vaccine against cancer. And my mother, just a few days after she told me to fuck off, she goes, oh yeah, he's so stupid for believing there could be a vaccine against cancer. You can't make a vaccine against cancer because cancer is your own body cells being fucked up and you can't really vaccinate against that. It's not a virus or something. And I'm like, Mom, just few days ago, Mom. just few days ago, you told me to get fucked because I presented the same exact fact to you. And now you're calling a man stupid for not knowing the same thing you didn't know. Mother. Government clerk, he acknowledged how in every meeting you go to, the dumbest person you'll meet would be the guy elected by the people. It's because those are the fun ones and people vote for the fun ones. People who think...
Dylan Burns just raided with 160.
The fuck?
Viewers.
Dude, the fuck? Hello. We're waiting for the storm in Croatia. So I did read the chat. I saw you were making fun of me. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep on talking about my mother and her cancer vaccination opinions. Holy shit. Hey, yo guys, how are you doing? Tomorrow's Croatian Victory Day, so we're supposed to talk about that. But also I'm joining politics, so we're talking about that. But also we're waiting for a storm, so I'm talking about that. Hope none of you are Slovenian. Because Slovenia is having big problems right now. Here's the city close to me, they're not having problems yet. Talking about Serbia, taking it. Listen to me. Slovenia is flooding right now. You know what that means? Slovenia is flooding right now, which means Sava, the river, is flooding right now, which means Drava, the river, is going to be flooding soon, which means Drava, the river, is going to go into Danube, the river, which means Serbs gonna get flooded soon. Serbs are going to get flooded on the anniversary of Croatian Victory Day when we beat their asses in the homeland war, okay? So I'm just saying, Croatia is a country. We used to be in Yugoslavia. We're not anymore. That's kind of it. We used to be in Yugo. It was bad. Before Yugo, we used to be in the kingdom. That was also bad. The reason it was bad is because we were controlled by Serbs, and you never want to be controlled by Serbs. Homeland War, which is the one in which we are... bro, English. We're celebrating the victory in the Homeland War tomorrow. Okay, Homeland War was when we tried to exit Yugoslavia together with Slovenes, and Serbs were not really happy about it, so they went and invaded us and did a bunch of killings here. None of these place names. We're just trying. We're probably irrelevant to you. but like, you're not irrelevant to us. Americans helped us a lot. During our Homeland War, the Operation Storm, Oluja, which is the one that we are celebrating victory in tomorrow, it was planned with a huge help of Americans. So Americans were actually very, very great here, which is why, by the way, talking about the whole thing we talked about with attempting not to bully the normies into accepting your opinions, I find it's very, very easy to switch their minds on USA helping Ukraine right now. If you just go like, bro, what if USA didn't help Croatia? What if USA didn't help Croatia and we didn't have Oluja? What would you do then? And most of them at the time when you mention that, they go, oh, really? Huh, wow, USA really did help us a lot. So yeah, it worked. So... Try not to manipulate the normies, but if you need to manipulate a normie from Croatia specifically, works for Bosnia too, works for Kosovo too, just mention USA help during the fallout of Yugoslavia. Your mother's side came from the Balkans? Which? Balkans? Which one of them? Which side are you on? Hey. That is not an information to just drop in. Good Balkan or the Balkan? Yeah, like, huh? What was the thing, by the way? I saw something about Serbia. Serbs are like Russians of a part of Europe. You know, it's the best thing. We had a conversations on this. Because I recently called Serbs our brotherly nations, and it got interesting responses because the term is like in not really not really a good term for our Ukrainian friendos, but I feel Serbs actually are a brotherly nation, and I feel that the reason they were able to become a true, proper, honest brotherly nation to us is because they got their asses kicked in the war, and because of this, they're not really a threat anymore. Like, we're in NATO, they can't do shit to us. So, you know, you want peace between Ukraine and Russia anytime in the future, they gotta be beaten so much they will not be a threat anytime soon. Serbs right now, they can't do shit. As much as it sucks what they did to us during the war, I do live in one of the areas which was strongly hit by the war. We were the first village invaded by Serbs at the time. So as much as, you know, people here hate remembering it, they're still feeling very, very close to Serbia as a country. And I truly do think that taking away this danger level played like a big, big part. Come on, they got shit bombed out of their asses in Belgrade in 1999. We got into NATO after that. They can't do anything to us. 2 years ago, there was chaos because they spray painted some genocidal shit on one of the trains that was going from like Serbia to Croatia. They spray painted some genocidal shit on it. And I remember a few of our newspapers being like, whoa, are Serbs going to invade again? Like, no, they can't. They're gonna get wiped out in a second. They can't do shit. So, you know, gotta do that to Russians too. Gotta bomb shit out of their asses. Equal Federal Democratic Yugoslavia would be nice. That is what we suggested to Milosevic at the last Congress we had of communists. Do you guys know about the last Congress? We had the last Congress of communists of Yugoslavia. And at the last fucking Congress, you know what happened? Slovenes and Croats were like, hey, Milosevic, can we be a proper fucking federation? And Milosevic was like, no, I'm a Serb, so I shit on everything I touch. And then, yeah, Slovenes left, and then Croats left, and that was basically the death of Yugoslavia. This was when the country crumbled. Just, I don't know. It sucks, because we could have been so good. We could have been so good, my man. It was just the Serbs weren't a part of it. We should have kicked the Serbs out. Like, come on, we were Croatia and Slovenia. We were the best countries monetarily there. We were the ones giving most money to the rest of Yugoslavia. We could have kept the thing going. We should have just kicked the Serbs out. Just like take Milosevic out. Brand new stealth bomber to test out. We could go give Serbia a friendly reminder. How much are you guys aware? How much do you know about Euro drama in Balkans? Croatia introduced Euro recently. Okay, as part of our introduction of Euro, check this out. As part of our introduction of Euro, we could choose what we want to put on Euro coins, and we put Tesla on it, Nikola Tesla, which caused a lot of drama in Balkans. This is what a coin looks like. It caused a lot of drama in the Balkans because Serbs claim Tesla and we claim Tesla. Tesla was a Serb born on Croatian land, okay? So everyone wants to kind of have him, but we are the first ones to get Euro coins. So because we are the first ones to get Euro coins, we were the first ones to put Tesla on our Euro coins, and this has caused a lot of fighting from us brothers for being little bitches. Currently, the meme is that in a few years, it's going to be the anniversary of the American bombing of Belgrade, and we're gonna put that on Euro coins. So, I feel like right now, if you try to bring Yugoslavia back, no, it couldn't have survived. But at the time, okay, maybe. Do you have one of these? I have these. I have a bunch of these saved in every size. Also, you know which one I saw today? I saw a Latvian Euro coin. How cool it is. It already reached us. Come on. We only had euros for like a few months. Croatia calling dibs. Yeah. We're gonna put every single proper celebrity that came from Serb lands, we're gonna put all of them on euro coins. So when they get into European Union in 50 years approximately, they have no one to put on. There's going to be 0 people of value in Serbia. There's going to be no one to put on. They're gonna have to put Vucic on a euro coin, and it's gonna be ridiculous. Half of the coin is gonna be his stupid ass lips. We're obligated to help you, Vicky, so don't fuck with us Finns. No, we like Finns. We like Finns. We like Finns. Burning Black Lady. Yeah, like imagine. I would vote for that. That also, now that I think about it, that is the reason why I need to get into politics as soon as possible, because if Sanna Marin 15-year trip tells us anything, it's that in 5 years I could be having some sort of power, and by having some sort of power I could be able to actually have an influence on what we add on our euro coins in the year 2029. Euro is pretty good currency. Yeah, no, it's not only are euros helping us, just being in European Union is helping us, my man. We are a shit country. We're not able to survive by ourselves. We can't deal with corruption by ourselves. When we were joining European Union, one of the top reasons why we wanted to join was because we wanted Europe to be helping us with our corrupt politicians. And they have been doing that rather well. It's good for us to be a little parasite, I think is a proper way to say it. We're a little parasite, European Union is like, yeah, we're going down this proper path of existing as a democratic country, and Croatia is like, yay! So it's good, okay? Overall, definitely. Getting as close to Europe as possible is definitely helping. What do you people have? I saw a Cyprus one recently. Just having a map? My dudes, you're having a map. Fair. That is fair. We do have Tesla on them, right? You have your map on all of them? Did we ever put the fucking bird? We have a bird. Wait, can I find you the Croatian euro coins? Where's the bird? Which one has the bird? Oh. Kuna. Doesn't have the bird, has Kuna. Why did I think he has a bird? Because I saw a Slovenian stork today. It has Kuna in remembrance of our previous national currency, which used to be Kuna, which is a marten. It's the animal. Their fur was like really, really valuable. So that was kind of cute. But yeah, you see Tesla. Oh yeah, and here's Gogolitic script. Here it is. So that's kind of cool. Kuna. It doesn't even use. It's not even a weird word. How dare you? Kuna zlatica. At the end of the day, everything will be just fine. They do still, as part of the work, I have to do a lot of calculations still for people who are unable to switch to euros completely. We're still having a thing in the stores, which I hate, which is that all the prices have to be shown in euros and in kunas, and I'm a big hater of that. I think it's making people have some really stupid expectations, and also I don't think it's making them calculate their prices properly at all. But most of the problems related have been stuff like that. The rest of it, we're having a problem with a lot of our citizens being very dramatic. So for example, I remember when kuna to euro switch started, at the time people were saying that everything was a lot more expensive in like actual shops and stores than it used to be, which was a lie. Like we had inspections going around checking stuff. It was a lie. It wasn't more expensive. The places where it was more expensive, ironically, was like village fairs, for example. So if you would go to a village fair when we switched to euro, stuff would be a lot more expensive there than it used to be like a day before. And it was because people were trying to trick you out of your money. They would just like switch the currency, but not really switch the number. Does that make sense? Like I used to be buying books for 5 kunas at the village fair thing. And when I went there, when they switched to euros, they wanted to charge me 5 euros, which is like 7 times more. But they were intentionally doing this because they knew that most people don't know the difference still. So most people just paid because they didn't know the difference. They wouldn't calculate it. They would just be like, yeah, that's okay. So you know, as a population, we are very complicit with corruption and cheating each other out of our money. So as population, lots of cheating of this scale has happened and lots of prices were raised like this. But when you actually look at like proper shops, proper store chains and shit like that, the prices have remained almost the same. 10 euro is a good long meal and split. That's so expensive. Long what? How? Where? Because that sounds cheap. That sounds cheap. I was on the seaside last year. They tried to charge me. It would be 3 euros for a snack at the beach. I'm way too scared to think what it costs now when, you know, we switched to euros. Dobson, I don't know. He said he's going to share something on his not Discord, Twitter. He is going to share something on his Twitter that we could be retweeting. It wasn't this one, but this was a good post. I'm not paying 3 euros for a snack. But also, I'm not paying like 2 euros for a snack. I'm not paying shit for a snack. He didn't share anything. He still has the same post he used to be having before, okay? He's doomed. Ish. Finland, big city prices, normal prices. If you're Helsinki, everything is super expensive. Even for us Finns, it feels like they're robbing us. For us, it's like you have tourist prices and you have normal prices. And you try not to let tourists know this, because you want to make cash money of tourists. It's I don't know if you remember, there was this one viral post on Twitter I want to say weeks ago, but I feel like it was a week and a half maybe. But it was some tourists who came to Croatia and they were like, "Wow, everything is so cheap in Croatia." And they go to like a fucking store somewhere in a tourist spot and they bitch about the price of Argeta Pasteta. Which is like, Argeta is already a fancy brand, okay? It's like guests are coming over and the guest is a fucking president of the country, okay? That's why you buy Argeta Pasteta, not on a sale. You don't really buy it in other times. But it was weird seeing a little tourist just like going to a shop and filming this and being like, "Whoa, look at the prices in this Croatian store, whoa." And then they're filming like chocolate. They filmed Milka. If you remember, we talked about Milka. Milka is a fancy chocolate here. You don't buy Milka. Milka is way too expensive for a chocolate. Milka, again, it's like you're going to meet Milanovic himself. You need to give him something. You give him Milka that you have spat into previously. But you don't really buy this to just have it in your house, okay? Like my father, when he started working in Germany, Milka chocolate was the first thing that he started buying us because we never could have afforded it before. And when he started sending it to us, we started like giving it to family around. And dude, we were like famous for that shit. Okay, no one was buying Milka chocolate. You didn't buy fucking Milka chocolate. So you know, seeing a foreigner be like, "Oh shit, everything's so expensive in Croatia," and then he walks into a tourist spot, and he goes for the most expensive brands. I remember watching that video and being just like, do I tell the dude? Do we tell the dude? Are the commenters telling the dude? And most of them were like, ha ha ha. But no one was really telling him, not from our people, right? And I think it's because we kind of want you guys to come in and spend your money. That's how Croatia operates. In Hungary, they tried to charge me 20 euros for a small flag at the airport. When you say they, was it Orban himself? Because that sounds like something he would do. That sounds like something he would be GG with. Yeah, Milka is doing business with Russia, that too. Is Monster Energy Drink doing business with Russia, by the way? Because I tried to Google it at the store today. I was finishing my shift and I was like, dude, I need to get something to drink during the stream. And I wanted to have a Monster, but then I tried to Google it and I lost the internet and I forgot about it until now. Because one of the energy drink brands was doing business with Russia. There's an app for that. I need to get the fucking app. I'm unable to remember. I know it's Milka, and I remember it was those Toots keks. You know Toots ones? Toots was working with Russia last time I checked. These. I don't know if they still. Like, I haven't checked their existence lately. But last time I checked they were, and I just kind of put it in my head I will not be buying them, and then I haven't been buying them for a while. A German-American billionaire entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and political activist. Wait, when you say political activist, may I get an elaboration on that? in like a good way or in a bad way? Most coffee people consume isn't enough to get any psychological effect. 90% of people is just placebo. I've actually heard... Someone told me, I spoke to a friend previously on this, and he was like, that it's a warm drink you drink in the morning, and that's what wakes you up, and it like puts your organism in motion, which is also why, you know, you gotta use the toilet after drinking it usually. And he claimed that if you drink tea instead of drinking coffee, it's gonna have basically the same fucking effect. If you drink one of those like weak ass teas or whatever, it's gonna be having the same effect regardless, because it's like a warm beverage and you put it in your body at the start of the day. I've never tried it though, so. Business-oriented people in Finland? If someone's idiot and willing to pay whatever, well, tough luck. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, you're willing to buy Argeta Pasteta. Buy Argeta Pasteta. You're willing to buy Cedevita when there's other brands existing that are, you know, almost Cedevita but not quite. Just do that. We're having tourists right now. I think mostly Americans, but I can't figure out the accent really. But we're having a lot of tourists this weekend specifically, and they keep on buying bottled water. And only one of them so far has asked me if our water is good enough to drink. And I was like, yeah, of course it is. Which is like what made me think that they were Americans. But most of them just buy like a bunch of bottled water because they're going to be staying, they rented the weekend houses, they're going to be staying here for like a week or something. Yeah, they just buy a bunch of it. And I didn't understand why they're buying until one of them was like, hey, can we like drink water from here? Is it safe to drink? And I was like, girl, what the fuck? Of course it is. What sort of a stupid ass question is that? But no one really warned them about it, you know? Apparently, I've spoken to like my colleagues at work. They knew why they were buying bottled water. It's just that no one really bothers to tell them until they ask. No one's really like, hey, you don't need to buy this. Now people are just like, yeah, okay. You're a dumbass willing to buy this? Pay up, bitch. Need to leave the coastline and go to the middle of nowhere to get the cheap prices in your country. I'm kind of supportive of us starting a continental tourism thing here in Croatia right now, because I think it's really, really good that like areas close to me are getting more attention. Vukovar is getting more attention recently. Vukovar is doing so great. There's a village close to me which is doing the first World War memorial thing. There's a bunker that used to be, it was built by Nazis during World War II, and in it they were hiding from Tito's partisans. And then when we did a lot of war crimes and we got rid of Nazis, the bunker was just kind of left there to rot. But then when the homeland war was happening, Croatian soldiers were using it as defense against invading Serbs. So right now the bunker is being made into like memorial area, and I thought that was really, really interesting, and it's attracting a lot of tourists recently. So, yay. Ex-girlfriend would never drink anything that wasn't from a filter. Why? It's practically legal robbery if you go there and buy stuff. It's like in Germany. When I was in Germany, I was there on one of your winter festivals. It was expensive as fuck. I went to there's an English word for this. Yeah, a mulled, is it mulled wine? We just say like warm wine. But like you cook wine and you add some spices to it, and it's, you know, nice cozy wintry drink. It was expensive as fuck, but it wasn't expensive usually. And usually the best thing in Germany, and I love Germans for it because Germans made a business out of this. I fucking adore you people. You can buy it in a bottle, and it has the spices and everything already in. You just warm it up. You know how good that shit is? We don't have that in Croatia. It's a new product here. We were like the main talking point of the village last winter because my father sent us these like mulled wine bottles from Germany. So when we were having guests over during the winter, it was really, really cold. So we were making like some wine and we were like chatting, and everyone was like, wow, this is so nice and tasty. How did you make it so well? What are all the spices? And you're just like, I'm using this German product. And they were like, whoa. But you have a whole business of it, and it's really, really cheap. But you go to these wintry festivals, it's expensive as fuck. And you have a rich-ass country. That's the worst thing about this, okay? When I go to Serbia and some Serb on the street tries to cheat me out of my money, I'm like, okay, you're a Serb, you live in Serbia. If I was living in Serbia, I too would be trying to cheat foreigners out of their money. Germans? Fucking Germans? You're rich already. The fuck is wrong with you losers? Imagine going to, like, I don't know, Slovenia and getting robbed out of your money. If a Slovenian person ever tries to rob me out of my money, I am beating them up on the street right there in the public. I can't do that with Germans because I don't dare to do it, okay? But still, it was so disrespectful. It's like, hey, I come from a country 20,000 times richer than your country. We literally have to carry you out of poverty, and we're going to cheat you out of your money. I don't know, disrespectful fuckers. My father's amazing. He was sending us so many like new shits here. It's like sometimes we get a package, and when we get a package from Germany, the relatives will come to the house to be here when we open the package because they want to see what we got from Germany, because it's always some new shit. It has reached a point right now where if they need to buy a present for someone's birthday or whatever, they ask us to ask father to like find something in Germany for them. Because, you know, it has all the fancy shit. It's a very interesting situation. It's like they can't leave, but they can leave. They just don't want to go anywhere to look for shit. They ask the man to send them stuff. Roma gypsy that begs for money and says he's starving, then at the end of the day gets into his BMW. There's the situation with Roma people is horrible in Europe, and we are to be blamed for this. I know actually a Roma man who is currently in I think we talked about this. I don't know if you went that stream. When I was doing education for European Union projects, one of the co-workers, one of the men who were like teaching us how to do specific projects IRL, he is a man who's coming from a suburb area, let's say it like that, where Croatia historically has been sending Roma people. Okay, so we were a shit country towards them. And we used to be doing a thing where, like, if a Romani family moves into a village or something, we offer them cash money to be moved into this other village, because we were like, yeah, all of the Romani people, they're going to be moved into this village specifically. We don't want to have them in other villages around, which, you know, Croatia being a piece of shit country, this is why we needed to get into European Union, to fix this bullshit. But what it has created is that there's a village. It's not even a village at this point. It's like a small town. There's a lot of people there. There's a small town relatively close to me, which is a place where a lot of Romani families live. Because a lot of Romani families live there, Croatia has not been giving them enough funding. Croatia has not been working properly, to get them proper schools there, to get them proper infrastructure there. They had shit internet until very, very recently. They had crap electricity. We went there as a folklore group a few times. They had like amazing stuff that they built themselves, but there was always stuff that they just, you have to get government help for it, and they wouldn't be able to get government help for anything. European Union changed this so much. And the man who was teaching us about European Union projects, he was one of the people involved in this whole process of fixing it. He's doing amazing work. He started a whole thing with like preschool for children, so they would have a place to be at while their parents are at work, stuff like that. Amazing man. But one of the problems that they're having is that it's very, very hard for them to get a job in Croatia. And now many Croats will tell you this is not true, because many Croats are deep, deep, deep into their own shit, and they refuse to accept the failures of this country. It is a fact that for Roma people in Croatia, it's very hard to find a job, it's very hard to get accepted in universities, it's very hard to finish school. Yeah, it is not true we have equal access. We don't. We tell to ourselves that we do, but we don't. We never gave them equal access. We were very, very fucked on this. We still are very, very fucked on how we are dealing with Croatian failures as a state. It's a good thing, though, that European Union came here, bless our European overlords, because it gave possibility for people from these communities to actually take power into their own hands, right? It's like the man in question, he started writing European Union projects by himself. He went online, he learned how to write European Union project document, and he wrote it. He was like, hey, we don't really have a preschool in this small town where I'm at. It would be great to have one, because a lot of parents, they can't wait for their kids to start school, basically, because then the kids in school for half a day, and you make your shifts at work fit with this. So then there's not a problem with, who's watching over the kid if like both parents work, right? So he was like, we could start something like a preschool in the village, because a lot of like other schools have this. Why don't we have this? Where even younger kids could go to learn, very basic stuff. They were like coloring, they're learning numbers, stuff like that. Nothing too complex. But it could be a little preschool thing where parents could go if they want to leave their kids there, they could do so, and then it would give them more possibility to just, have a kid be somewhere safe, somewhere that someone's taking care of them, and then if you need to, go to job, you go to your job. If you need to just do shit around the house, you do shit around the house. You have this option. And he wrote this project himself, and it passed. He succeeded, right? But it's something that Croatia as a state would never give to them, because Croatia as a state sees that you are writing a request from the town in question, and Croatia as a state goes, oh no, that's a town where we sent all the Romani people in. We don't want to give funding to this place. There's no use for it. So Croatia would just refuse every single time. But when it comes to them not being able to find a job, we are having a problem year after year here. There's still no solution to this. And the problem is that a village close to me has a religious festival, huge religious festival. It's in a couple of days, actually. So people come from all over Croatia to go here. They walk. Just millions of people. Holy shit, ridiculous. We don't have millions of people in Croatia, okay? But it's a lot. And the problem in question is that some Romani girls are here on the festival every single year. And what they do is they will be sitting in front of the store. So it's the store where I work in right now. They will be sitting in front of the store, and they usually carry a small child with them. And they sit in a way that, like, when you're getting out of the store, because the doors open towards the front, you will kind of like slightly nudge them with the doors. And what happens is people feel bad for like pushing them out of the way, so people give them money. And it has been, for years, it has been a situation of like people trying to exit the store, but there's so many people like that sitting in front that you can't even exit properly. And then the tourists get angry, and then people give money to these girls, and then they fight with them because like Some of the girls have threatened to sue the people if they don't give them money for like pushing them out of the way. People have called the police, so the police like either takes these girls away and then returns them the next day, or the police just like talks with them and then everyone's angry at each other, and they still haven't figured out a way to deal with this. But the problem is that what they have is there's this one dude, and we know about him because he is here again every single year when the festival is happening.
You see this.
He comes around and he takes their money. So they get a specific amount of donations daily from like these people who feel bad about pushing them out of the way. The old man comes there and he takes their money at the end of the day. So they don't even like get to keep the cash. They have to give the cash to this dude who's like the main one in the whole operation. He is the one who's organizing it. He is the one who sends them around. At the start of the day, he is the one who drives them there and who tells them at which location to sit in front of the doors. But they are the ones who are actually being, you know, abused by tourists, and they're the ones who are being screamed at and yelled at and taken away by the police. He just comes in, he takes all of their money, he's controlling everything. Basically, what's happening is that the problem is exactly the same as with Sweden and as with their stupid ass allowing of alternative societies to be formed. And you have to figure out a way as a state to be dealing with this, but the problem should not be blamed on people caught up in these alternative societies, right? Like that's the point I'm trying to get at. The problem is not with people caught up in this, because the people are trying to survive. For years, if you were a Roma person in Croatia, if you were sent to this town to live in, you would have to adapt. You had very low chances of getting into a university. You would have very low chances of finding a job. People would see the town name on your resume. They would not want to hire you. You had to find another way to get cash money. You were immediately mistreated just by being sent there, right? So they needed to find another way to make cash money. And to do this, they entered, you know, similar types of jobs, which have gotten people to discriminate against them even more, which have gotten them into an even worse situation. Ultimately, I believe it is the responsibility of the state to fix this, and I believe we should be expecting the state to fix this. I don't believe we should be blaming this on the people in question. No, not Tuts eating. Tuts operates in Russia. Tuts bad thing. Tuts bad thing. If you get a fresh start and move to a country with plenty of options, but still decide to try and scam the general public, that's a personal problem. I think it depends on like what are the options presented to you, plus what is the part of society that you moved in, right? I know for Sweden, for example, a lot of people like to be like, oh yeah, well, all of these immigrants moving to Sweden, how come they just don't adapt to living in Sweden, but instead they choose to live a life of crime? They don't get placed in, which when you say, why don't they just get used to living in Sweden? Why don't they just adapt to Swedish culture? That's not where most of them are placed. You know where they are placed? They're placed in parts of the country infested with Yugoslav war criminals who came to Sweden in 1990s. We're talking about poor areas of the country. We're talking about areas of the country with shit economic power. We're talking about areas of the country where the level of education is already lower, the level of employment is already lower, right? This is where a lot of people coming from the outside will get placed in because it's cheaper to come there. They do adapt. They adapt to living there. It is the responsibility of Sweden, as it was years ago. They wrote articles on this themselves. I saved a bunch of these things on the Patreon. It was their responsibility to fix this back in 1990s. They didn't. They just allowed the alternative societies to be forming. And now we're blaming people for adapting to survive in alternative societies that Sweden has allowed to exist for years. With like Yugoslav war criminals just running around. Dude, like when we talk about the amount of weapons being freely available in Swedish vulnerable areas, that's weapons from Yugoslav wars. We carried that over. It's our people, it's Albanians. One of worst Bosnian mass murderers is a part of a gang in Sweden. Crossed over during the war, stayed there for a while, then went to Bosnia to do his prison sentence. You know? It should have been the responsibility of Sweden to fix this. I don't think people who now try to get into Sweden, and as part of trying to get into Sweden, they get placed in these areas. I don't think it's their fault for learning how to adapt and how to survive there. Croatia will help Ukrainianship growing through its sports. Heck yeah! Not just that. Listen, you know what I've learned? You know what I've learned? Our railways. Our railways are famously memed for being shit. Just absolutely fucking crap. I have actually learned that our railways are a lot better adapted to be driving produce than they are to be driving people. That's why they're shit. They weren't really made to be properly used by people. They're like very, very slow. The train delay is shit and everything. And what people have looked at and what people have analyzed these days now, I don't really care about rail too much. I don't use it. I live in a village where, you know, rail isn't really the main form of transport. But from what I figured, our railways were basically made for this. We could be transferring a lot of grain very, very efficiently because this is what our system was made for. We are shit with transferring a bunch of travelers properly, but when it comes to there's a word that I want to use and I don't know what the word is, but like when it comes to transporting shit like grain, we could actually be really, really helpful on this. So I'm very, very happy about this. Also, they're going to be using our ports on the Danube River. Vukovar is going to get a lot of cash money if this goes through. Vukovar is in need of basically as much cash as possible. If you know Vukovar is a city on the Danube River. It is one of the cities that was destroyed during the war in Croatia. Right now it's growing, so it's doing better. It's doing better. The mayor of Vukovar is really, really good. He's doing really, really great stuff to invite people to come back to the city, so that's all right. But it's going to get even more cash if the port actually becomes properly used and if the port gets, you know, lots of Ukrainian grain being shipped through. So I'm kind of happy about that. There's two. We don't know which one it was, okay? I've seen some people say that we only crowdfunded for one. I've seen, I don't know how many it was, okay? I kind of did a stupid thing on this one and I was just kind of giving money and hoping it goes towards something. But people are saying that we crowdfunded towards one. So we can only claim one of the hits on Russian boats and we can't really claim all of them. I am claiming all of them anyways. But yeah, just so you know. What? Carrying hit military equipment in a refrigerator as a trophy?
Не с пустыми руками же уезжать с поля боя. Это Россия.
Loot. Fucking loot. Yeah. Hey, by the way, I still have a couple of videos I wanted to show you. I had one specifically on Orban that you need to see, and then I have to leave.
Have you ever...
Okay, then I have to leave. Wait, where's my city? Where's my city? Where's my city? See, no rain. Observe this. Observe this bullshit. No rain happening. No rain at all in no part of the city. People are just sitting around on benches. That's fucking disappointing.
I wondered how a nation once a symbol of freedom and hope, can become a
Same thing that
paradox
happened
in the eyes
last
of the world.
week.
How has Hungary, a nation essential in pulling down the Iron Curtain, come to seemingly question the principles it once stood for? Strategically nestled between the realms of Eastern and Western Europe, Hungary has been a chessboard for empires, and its territory has frequently shifted between different power blocs, which have instilled a deep-rooted geopolitical consciousness within the nation, often finding it walking a tightrope between larger powers. In 2003, Hungary stepped into the European Union, marking a transition from a past marred by struggles to a future filled with potential. Historically,
He is supported
Hungary's
by
role in
Hungarians, though.
dismantling the Iron Curtain set off a domino effect, leading to the downfall of some.
Okay, I don't know if you speak to many Hungarians. I don't know where you're from. But for me, I had experiences with speaking to Hungarians, but because I live in an area of Croatia where there's a lot of Hungarians, did you know they get money for being Hungarians? Because you get money from the Hungarian state if you're a Hungarian in the country and you're learning Hungarian language. I thought that was kind of cute. If you're doing any sort of business, you get money from Hungarian state. Hungarian agriculture people, for example, they get cash money from Hungarian state, plus they get cash money from European Union because they are in Croatia and they're doing agriculture here. So that's kind of cool. But they support Orban. Like, so far, I didn't want to say every single one because I felt like it was exaggeration, but it isn't. Every single Hungarian I have met supports Orban. I don't know a single one that doesn't. And what they have mostly fallen for is this idea that European Union is not giving him money because Orban doesn't want to allow global homo into Hungary. It's such a prevalent opinion, and I have no idea what to do with any of that. Whenever the conversation is started, I'm just like, what? But they genuinely believe that he is a great leader and European Union wants him to start teaching kids about global homo, and Hungary is refusing because Hungary is a nice democratic country, and this is why Hungary is not getting cash money from European Union. I talked to one of them these past few days, and I asked them their opinions on the stadium that Orban has built. He built a huge stadium in his birth village. Useless stadium. No one fucking goes there. Okay? No one fucking goes there. He stole cash money for this stadium. He stole it from European Union funds. He builds a useless goddamn stadium, and then what he does is he builds a useless train ride from this useless village to another useless village. No one uses this train. No one uses this stadium. He just stole money to flex with what he can spend it on. And I asked a Hungarian about this, and the Hungarian was like, oh yeah, well, he's just enriching the cultural life of Hungary. That's a good thing. Are you sad he's not enriching it instead by teaching people about gays? And that's the last conversation I had with a Hungarian, actually. Intentional conversation I had with one of them. I don't know if any of you are Hungarians. I hope you're not. I hope you have gotten better. Hey, yo, Croatian fella, loving the username. How are you doing? Kako ide, dobar dan. Dobar dan. Gledamo o Mađarskoj.
Soviet communism. As Hungary shook off the oppressive past, it stood as a beacon of hope, offering refuge to Eastern Europeans seeking the West's freedom. Yet here we are, wrestling with a paradox. The country that once held high the torch
But I got better? Yeah.
now seems to contradict them.
Oh, Minecraft.
This
Hey,
complex
yo.
perception of Hungary, largely negative within the broader European context, is
Sjećam se
crafted
toga
by the
counta.
policies and actions of its Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, and Fidesz, who perceive the European Union as a declining economic giant with an unpredictable foreign policy.
Also another fucking thing. I'm pissed off about Hungarians, okay? I need to be angry about Hungarians. Yeah, I think Minecraft was here. Yeah. You know what's the problem with Fidesz? Is that it has nothing apart from offering shit to cheap shit to Hungarians, like it's giving them flour if you vote for the party. You get bags of flour, you get some eggs, stuff like that. You get little treats if you vote for the party. That's it. That's what it does. It does nothing else. This is not a situation like, I don't know, you speak to a Meloni supporter, and a Meloni supporter is like, yeah, I think she's actually quite fucking based on the opinion of Ukraine. And you're like, yeah, okay, Meloni is very, very based on what she thinks about Ukraine. So I could see that. I could see that. You speak to a Milanovic supporter, and they're like, oh yeah, well, I support the fact Milanovic is trying to fight against HDZ, which is the most corrupt political party in Croatia. And you're like, okay, Milanovic is a piece of shit, but at least this is something useful he's doing. Orban has nothing. Fidesz has nothing. They're offering nothing. All the arguments you're going to hear for them are going to be arguments against global homo, against the rotten West, or just arguments for Russia, and that's it. I have never heard anything outside of these bounds. I've never heard someone like unironically give a proper way that Fidesz actually cares about Hungary as a country. Most people don't even think they do. So I don't know. Just pissed off.
But you really think
I'm salty
there is
about
no
Hungarians,
chance
dude.
of Ukraine winning? They stand very little chance of winning without the aid which you are currently blocking.
Looking
True.
at the fact that NATO is not ready to send troops, it's obvious that there is no victory for poor Ukrainians on the battlefield. That's my position.
So who are the Hungarians? And how have they steered the country's course in the past? What propels Viktor Orban? And why does his influence cast a shadow of uncertainty over Europe? And what does tomorrow have in store for Hungary? The history of the modern Hungarian people, also known as the Magyars, began in western Siberia. From there, the Hungarians would gradually migrate further west until they settled down in the region known as the Pannonian Basin at the beginning of the 10th century, after conquering it from the Avars and Bulgarians. Eventually, the Hungarians would organize into a unified kingdom, defined clearly by the Carpathians, Dinarids.
How's right wing in Finland? What are they doing? Because we have right wing in Croatia. They're the strongest position they've taken so far is that they support Ukraine. Nothing really else. Also, they had corruption scandals, but like they're just normal. They haven't really done anything else. They did allow. We had a thing with like people praying on the streets, praying for women to stop wearing short skirts. Didn't really work. But the party did allow for that to keep on happening. No one really did anything on this. They banned stores and retail working on Sundays and holidays, which I actually think is a good thing. I'm actually in support of that. But they haven't really done a lot of stuff, you know? I wonder how it is in Finland. Like, is there a difference? Do you actually feel it? Do you actually have some sort of problematic policies being pushed, or are your politicians also very mild when it comes to this? Because we have like right and left. The right is currently in power. Left wants to take power, but no one really cares about them too much, and they're kind of crumbling as a party. But you don't really feel the difference between them when they are in power, because both of them have corruption scandals. Both of them barely do anything. The biggest difference right now is their position on Ukraine. Previously it used to be the position on COVID, but both of them had okay positions regardless. It's most like tiny opposition parties which have stupid ass opinions, which is why no one votes for them. But when it comes to the two main ones, they usually just kind of disagree slightly over something, and that's it. So, I don't know. Too many scandals being racist. One minister from Finn's party got already fired. Oh shit. Oh shit, Rip. Do you actually feel it? Can you feel it? Sounds like Greek politics. I have no idea how Greeks are doing. I tried to follow the Greek situation when I was in this one live stream. I have to recommend the live stream to you people. The streamer is called MEP Assistant, and he knows a lot about how European Parliament works. He follows European politics a lot, so he very often explains to people what's happening in Europe and in their politics. And I was on his stream around the time of Greek elections last time, and I tried to ask him about Greek elections, and man seemed equally as lost in their politics as I am. So it feels like Greece is just trying. Greece is attempting. Greece is holding on, and either nothing too dramatic is happening, which is good, or just everything dramatic is happening, and we all are getting so confused by it that we don't understand it at all.
And the Alps. Under the leadership of the
Supremacy
House of
drag.
Arpad, the Hungarians gradually unified the various tribes and organized into a cohesive kingdom. By the turn of the millennium, Hungary's first Christian king, Stephen I, was crowned. By the 13th century, Hungary had evolved into a powerful and prosperous kingdom that encompassed a diverse population. The Pannonian Basin, with
I
its
wanted to
fertile
buy
lands
Tomislav,
along the Danube, attracted various
but there were no
groups,
cold ones,
including
so I didn't.
Hungarians,
So I got
Slavs,
pan,
Germans, and others.
like
This
some
diversity
loser ass
also
bitch.
extended to religious beliefs, as Christian, Muslim, and Jewish communities coexisted within the kingdom. Instead of religious conflict, there was a prevailing atmosphere of religious
Imagine
tolerance.
coexisting
This was
with
quite unusual
Hungarians.
for the era, given the broader context of the Crusades and the often violent religious conflicts of the time. But the kingdom was severely weakened by the Mongol invasions, which devastated Europe during the 13th century. Later, when the Hungarians came under attack by the expansionist Ottomans, it was thanks to John Hunyadi and his Black Army that Hungary managed to halt Ottoman invasion further into Europe. Hunyadi's success coincided with a personal union between Hungary and Poland, which meant a large unified force now stood between
Why did this
Central
bitch
Europe
make a video
and
about
the Ottomans.
Orban?
However,
Isn't talking
the
about
personal
Hungarian
union
history.
died with the failed crusade of Varna in 1444, when the defending crusaders
You have a
suffered
small.
defeat.
Hey, see, that's a
The
rich
defeat
person
at
thing. Those
Mohacs
small,
marked the
useless
beginning
ones.
of Hungary's subjugation to Ottoman rule.
It's a rich person
Much of
thing.
Hungary, including its capital,
You rich
Buda,
little person.
fell under Ottoman
You
control,
richy boy.
while the western part of the kingdom, known as Royal Hungary, was left to the rule
What's
of
next,
the
huh? You
Habsburgs.
little richy
For
bitch.
nearly
What's next?
150 years, Hungary would
You buy
endure
Twitter?
the hardships of Ottoman occupation, facing cultural and religious challenges as the Ottomans imposed their
He got
customs
baddest
and
lunatics
Islam
and racist
until the
assholes.
Habsburg-led Austrian conquest
They need to
at the
start
end of the
focusing on
17th
real
century
issues.
and the general decline of Ottoman power in Europe. As
Were
a
they-
result, the Hungarians would see their Ottoman
I keep on pausing the Hungarians video, but who the fuck cares about Hungarians anyways? Were they voted in on real issues, or were they voted in on racist, asshole, lunatic issues? What got them into the government? What got them the power they have? Because I feel they have no reason to focus on the real issues if they got the power in the government in the first place, because they were focused on populism bullshit. Right? Kind of like Orban. Orban got voted in because he was crying about global homo. And so there's really no reason for him to be like, yeah, let me go and try to look into Hungarian corruption issues and economy problems and try to fix that. Why would he do that? He got picked into the position because he doesn't like global homo. Just focus on global homo and you're going to keep voters happy. Is that a situation there too? Are you having the same problem?
masters exchanged for Austrian ones.
Croatia.
Meanwhile, the Napoleonic Wars of the early 19th century would lead to the spread of the idea of nationalism all across Europe. These ideals would result in the birth of an idea, the return of an independent Hungary. The dream of
Feels
realizing
like keeping
this
that
would
in
come
order.
in 1848, as Europe erupted
Cold
in
little
an
country.
unprecedented wave of nationalist revolutions. As the Hungarian Revolution struggled to assert its sovereignty, it faced a severe blow from an unexpected source. The Russian Empire, a staunch ally of the Austrian monarchy, intervened in the conflict to help quell the revolutionary movement. In June 1849, a massive Russian army crossed into Hungary and together with Austrian forces launched a brutal and relentless crackdown on the revolution. Following Austrian
damn.
defeat against Prussia in the Austro-Prussian War in 1866, the humiliated and weakened Austrians would grant Hungary autonomy within the empire, leading to the creation of the Austro-Hungarian.
You know what this feels like? I recently learned that a very good way to speak to Serbs about Russia is to point out the fact that when the Red Army was going through Belgrade, they raped women left and right. This was one of the causes of the Tito-Stalin split, the fact that Russians, and just Russians, Soviets, were fucking vile towards Yugoslavs at the time. And Tito went to Stalin to be like, bro, can you like please tell your soldiers to not be fucking animals? Can they please stop raping so many of our women? And Stalin was like, yeah, they're just young men. They need to have some fun. I am very intelligent. So in the same way, I wonder if speaking to Hungarian nationalists, I wonder if it would be useful bringing up Russia's previous crimes against Hungary. I don't know how much they focus on that usually, but it feels like it might be interesting to poke with it. I'm gonna try to do so. I'm gonna be like, hey, you guys remember when Russians butchered the fuck out of you? You remember that? Kind of weird you're supporting them now. Like you do remember the historical events, right? I'm just saying. We may need better allies. We stuck with Frenchies. Frenchies never did anything bad to us. They're French, that's the worst thing, but they never did anything bad to us, okay? They've been on our side for a very, very long time. It feels like they are better allies than Russians ever could be. Center-right made a deal with the devil when they brought the Finns part in government. All the lunatics are from that. They ran on tougher immigration policies. Oh shit. Are they gonna team up with Meloni in European Union? Because I think she's looking for allies to try and push tougher immigration policies. She's trying to do stuff with what is it? She wants to return people back home if they don't get approved for an asylum. There was like three or four points that she wanted to focus on. That was one of them. Because I remembered the British thing with just like sending everyone into the same fucking country. They fucking tried to put Albanians on a plane and send them over to Africa. Yeah, I don't know. Because the way I understand it, it's like, oh, if you don't get the paperwork to be allowed to stay in the country, we're going to be just deporting you back to where you came from. I guess if you turn people away at the border, that's enough from like... Because I've seen a lot of people mention that in many big Italian cities, there's a lot of immigrants who didn't get their paperwork sorted, so they can't be there legally, but they still are begging on the streets. So I wonder, like, are you just gonna go and deport all of them? Because that would be mass ethnic deportation, right? When you turn them away to the border, it's kind of different. But like, if you would go through these cities and like, I don't know. But also then it's like based. I mean, people are there illegally, so I feel that's different than if you were just deporting people just solely based on ethnicity, because you do have the law technically on your side because they are there illegally, right? They didn't get their paperwork sorted. Country that no longer exists. I've got no idea. She still is looking for allies, and then she will have to bring the propositions for the law in front of European Union, and then they will have to talk about how they want to form a law on this. So I have no idea what they're gonna do in case of specific situations. Do they like give you a country to pick from? Or they're like, oh, you emigrated 25 plus years ago, the country that you ran away from no longer exists. You ran away from Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia ain't real anymore, so now you get to pick a former Yugoslav state to be in. Everyone's gonna go to Slovenia immediately. I already see the little bitches there in Ljubljana crying about it. I want to know. Austro-Hungarian. Oh shit, yeah, that too. Who the fuck would go to Hungary though? Everyone would go to Slovenia again. You give us an options to choose when it comes to Austro-Hungarian Empire. People are gonna be like, yeah, I just want to go to Slovenia. If I can't go to Germany, I want to go to Slovenia. There's no other country that you don't want to go to Austria. You don't want to go to Hungary. What's the other option? Finland's party will do in the future. There's a possibility they will go on groups in European Union that support tougher immigration policies for sure. Hey. Okay, but like none of them. Ah, shit. No, wait. That's a lie. What is the strictest? What is the worst immigration policy example that they are actually pushing for? Did we get the drafts? What was the worst one? I felt that UK bullshit with just putting all people in the same country. I felt that was rather bad, for example. But I wonder how that works here. Well-off white Americans. And the thing with European Union is that we are they're trying recently to focus strongly on the differences between refugees and immigrants. And what they usually tend to be against, at least like, I know the specifics for Croatia and for countries around. I don't know if Finland works like this. But what people usually have the idea of is that there's immigrants who try to pretend they're refugees. Personally, I'm not really trusting in such an issue existing on such a large scale. But it seems to be what is most of the issue. What is most of the issue. So they're not really that much against immigrants, but they also understand the importance of accepting refugees. But I think that there are some immigrants who try to pretend to be refugees in order to be allowed entrance into the country, when as an immigrant they would not be allowed entrance into the country. Basically what I'm saying is that I very much doubt Americans would have a need to do something like that. Or like anyone else from richer countries, you wouldn't really need to pretend you're a refugee to get access to a country. Like for example, Germany has a thing. You can't just enter Germany to go and live there. Right? You have to have some sort of either visa to stay there for a while, or, you have to have your situation sorted enough in order to be able to get a visa soon. So, for example, recently they eased the expectations for not eased expectations for Bosnians, but they changed them a little bit. So right now, if you're a Bosnian, you can get access to Germany way easier if you know German language, if you have relatives already living in Germany, stuff like that. They made it a lot easier for you to get into Germany. But before this, there were a lot of Bosnians who were living in Germany legally too. And I think most of the issue is about like illegally. People who are in the country illegally, right? So then, I don't think riches would ever be part of this problem. Deporting illegal immigrants out of Finland. Not even sure how much is Finnish illegal immigration problem. Do you have a big problem with that? Social Darwinism? I actually don't know. Wait, we'll do a Google while watching part of the video before I post again.
1867, while Hungary had regained its right to govern many of its internal affairs, it found its nationalist aspirations threatened by the national awakening of ethnic groups within its own borders. Slovaks, Romanians, Serbians, Croatians, and Ukrainians all inhabited lands controlled by the Hungarian half of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. As a result, the Hungarians implemented a policy of Magyarization, which aimed to assimilate and promote Hungarian culture and language.
Because no one wants to be a Hungarian otherwise.
Led to
they had to push it onto us.
And resentment amongst the various ethnic groups. As the empire crumbled in the aftermath of World War I, the ethnic minorities within Hungary saw an opportunity. Rising nationalist movements in regions like Transylvania, Slovakia, Ruthenia, and parts of present-day
12
Croatia
non-white
and
6-foot-tall
Slovenia
people in
sought
total.
independence or affiliation with other countries. So the fall of the
I have
Austro-Hungarian
no
Empire
idea how
was
many people
indeed
go to
a
Finland.
hectic time. Then in 1918,
Sweden definitely
Hungary
seems a
formally
lot more
declared its
popular.
independence, establishing the Hungarian Democratic Republic. However, the dream of a unified and independent Hungary was short-lived. In the following year, a communist takeover led by Bela Kun brought about the Hungarian Soviet Republic, aiming to establish closer ties with the newly formed Soviet Union. The situation escalated into a series of wars known as the Hungarian-Romanian War, the Hungarian-Czechoslovak War, and other conflicts with neighboring countries. The most significant and detrimental outcome of these wars was the Treaty of Trianon, signed in June 1920. The treaty imposed severe territorial losses on Hungary, stripping it of approximately 2/3 of its territory and reducing its population by the same. Millions of ethnic Hungarians were now living in newly created neighboring states, leading to a massive territorial disintegration and a significant sense of loss and humiliation for the Hungarian people.
Without
the
Istra.
Treaty of Trianon not only dismantled the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but also left Hungary as a diminished and fragmented nation.
As
The
it
loss
should
of
be.
key industrial regions, agricultural lands, and historical regions left the country economically weakened and with a deep sense of injustice. During the tumultuous period of
I don't
World
follow
War
that
II,
insanity.
Hungary found itself straddling a geopolitical fault line. Its decision to align with
Circle
the
of
Axis
Life
powers,
is a fable
especially
about white
Germany,
supremacy
was
in
driven
Germany.
largely by its ambition to reclaim territories that had been lost to neighboring
Do you have a
states
link
such
to
as
the
Romania
video?
and Bulgaria. Yet this allegiance was to prove costly. When both Romania and Bulgaria switched allegiances to join the Allies, Hungary was left exposed to the impeding threat of Soviet domination.
Rip Hungary.
Fearing Hungary's imminent betrayal, Germany moved in to occupy the country. This significantly undermined Hungary's sovereignty and forced the nation to comply with direct end of
Hungary, same.
1944, Hungary
I want them
had
out of European
transformed
Union
into
too.
a war-torn battlefield caught in the crossfires between the retreating German forces and
Like I just yesterday, European Union Parliament published a new video yesterday. They're trying to get people to talk about European Union Parliament more because we're having voting next year. By the way, we're having voting next year. So I'm trying to get Europeans to talk about this. I'm planning to do streams on like the candidates and everything. We have to do this a lot because I really can't see another Claire Daly in the parliament. I am going to hang myself. But they did a little video with like, we are European Union Parliament. Wow, look at us. We are so important. And it's so ironic watching it, knowing that Hungary is a part of it. They're like, we promote peace, yay! And then you remember Orban's comments about Ukraine basically not being a sovereign country anymore. It's like, what do you mean? The fuck do you mean?
the advancing Soviet Red Army. The prospects of an independent Hungary were increasingly eclipsed by the reality of war. Following the fall of Budapest to the besieging Soviet forces, Hungary fell firmly under the Soviet sphere. They proceeded to install a communist puppet government, marking the beginning of a period of extreme hardship and repression for the Hungarian populace. The dream of an independent Hungary was gradually fading into oblivion under the Soviets' iron fist. This oppressive regime, combined with a growing desire for national independence, fueled resentment and resistance amongst the populace. The tensions simmered until they reached a boiling point, and in 1956, protests and uprisings erupted across Hungary as people sought to break free from Soviet control and establish a self-governing Hungary. On November 4, 1956, Soviet tanks and troops invaded, with the intent of crushing the revolution and restoring absolute communist control. The brutal and indiscriminate use of force shocked the world and caused immense suffering and loss of life.
Flaring swiftly from student demonstrations into open revolution, the pent-up hatreds of oppression sent Russian might reeling and forced withdrawal of the red yoke. But even as these scenes were recorded, rumors flared of the re-entry of Russian forces and new fighting. The beautiful city of Budapest, scarred by conflict, again faces a Russian onslaught even before the debris of the fight for freedom is cleared from the streets. In startling developments, Hungary broke with the satellite Warsaw Pact military alliance, announced neutrality, and pleaded for priority on the United Nations agenda. Then word came that Russian forces were massing and all communication with the West was cut off.
The revolution lasted for less than 2 weeks, but it left a deep impact on the national consciousness. The revolution's failure to achieve its goals and the subsequent brutal suppression by Soviet forces brought a sense of betrayal and disillusionment amongst the Hungarian people. Thousands of Hungarians were killed, many more were arrested,
I was
imprisoned, or
waiting for
forced
his
into
tweet.
exile. Thus, Hungary's tumultuous journey through history, marked by shifting alliances, foreign occupations, and internal struggles, left the nation grappling with the elusive dream of independence.
Wait. Where did I have Dobson's account? Here's Dobson's account. Here's Dobson's account. Is that even his account? Am I in his right account? Does he have another one? Twitch TV Dobson. Do we have a link? Because I am hoping to get a link. I'm hoping to get access to a link on the tweet. What did Sana Marin? Now I have to watch the shit show. This is why, my dude, we all need to get into local politics. We need to bully the shit out of them. We need to bully the shit out of them. I've seen Barbie only, so I'm saying Barbie because I've seen that one. I haven't seen Oppenheimer. I've seen Barbie. Barbie was great. I thought it was a great movie. I'm usually a big fan of musicals, so I liked that. I thought the songs were great. I thought the choreography was great. I thought the design of Barbie Land was great. I like the story. I like how it started a lot of very interesting conversations with a couple of people. It's one of those movies that, like, how to say this? It's a good test, right? You ask people, hey, have you seen Barbie? And first off, many will say no, and they will have a strong reason as to why not. And it's interesting to hear it usually. Or, like, those who have seen it, if they have really strong opinions on that, that's also very, very interesting. You know, it's like they bring up some opinions sometimes and you're like, I didn't know this is how you visualize this. Or my favorite thing is when they try to analyze it, but they're too stupid to analyze it. You know what's the level of analysis they've been bringing? Now, I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but I've seen people who haven't seen Oppenheimer either criticize it for featuring the character of Oppenheimer, who is not morally perfect. And usually when I see this sort of criticism of a movie, I think it's the dumbest fucking criticism existing. And you see it often on Twitter spaces, like, oh, the protagonist of this movie is not morally perfect, therefore I'm a bit bitching about the movie, instead of thinking like, hey, okay, maybe they're supposed to be faulty, maybe they're supposed to be fucked up. And I see the same situation with people commenting on Barbie Land. They don't like the way it's organized, and instead of being like, why do I not like the way it's organized? Like, maybe there's something in it, right? Maybe there's something there. No, they just go, oh, I don't like it because it's not showing a perfect Barbie society, it's showing a flawed Barbie society, and because of this I hate the movie. It's like, it's such a stupid surface level analysis, especially because several times in the movie they make comments on like how the Barbie world is not perfect. I like the one at the end when they go, oh yeah, soon Kens will be having as much power in Barbie Land as women have in the real world, right? Like, it's supposed to hint to the fact that Barbie Land is not fair and real world is not fair. Both of them are not fair. Like, you're supposed to acknowledge that. It's very hard to change a system which has been, existing for a very long time, which is why Barbie Land is not going to become perfect. The same with the real world is not going to become perfect anytime soon. But, like, they still do acknowledge this. They never present this as, like, some sort of perfect society. But it feels like a lot of people watching have taken it for granted that it's supposed to depict a perfect society, and then it doesn't, and then they get angry. because they think every single movie they watch must be a prescription of how society should be. In the same way that they see morally ambiguous characters and they get angry because they think that every single main character must be showing you how to exist. So if a main character isn't doing that properly, people get disappointed. They're like, oh yeah, I can't be like this person because they're faulty. So that makes me angry and now I hate this movie. You know, it's like that. It's interesting levels of analysis. So if you know some Barbie viewers, ask them about the movie. Also, I do recommend watching it. It was really, really fun. Topsen! 3 years of daily streams without issues. Now this. I regret my slip up. I want to make it right. Oh, do we know? Whoa. Wait, so he knows which slip up it was? Oh, I wonder. I'm gonna give you a link. I'm also gonna quote tweet it after the stream. Gonna be sharing it around. Respond to comments under it. Just give it as much engagement as you can, okay? Bullet Twitch into doing something. But I wonder what specific slip up was. Bit of different cinema. He does a pretty good job. I like the fact it's just fun at some parts. You know, sometimes just several times during the movie I was like, oh, this is just supposed to be fun. Like I'm just supposed to be like, yeah, look at Kens on this beach fighting. It's supposed to be fun. It isn't really supposed to be some sort of like strong commentary. It's just supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be wearing silly little outfits and dancing around and doing these like cool little dance moves. I like that. So you know, in parts it's really just fun, and in parts it's I think really good commentary. Not to say it's a perfect movie. There is definitely certain criticism that people have said that I understand. I just don't know. I feel like a lot of people I've seen criticizing the movie, a lot of people IRL I've spoken to who have criticized the movie, they criticize it for very stupid reasons. And that in a way it makes me like it, because I do think that the way it's been marketed, the way the topic itself, the way it's dealing with the topic, with like the Barbies, it already creates a very strong reaction in certain types of people. And I think that's very interesting to watch. People complaining about moral complications in shows and movies, comparing them to old shows like Leave It to Beaver of Your Life Was Ideal. Oh shit. So now we're basically dealing with the same types of people. Something a bit negative about the Russian fencer. Oh. Oh. Well, knowing Topsen, as a regular Topsen viewer, I feel like something a bit negative might be an interesting way to explain it. He still doesn't deserve to be banned though. His opinions were always based on this, and he is a very, very good source of information. Kids can't hold guns in movies. What?
Independence. The specters of World War II
like
and the Soviet era continue to cast a long shadow over Hungary, shaping its political landscape and its people's quest for self-determination. Even as the dream of a free Hungary was crushed in 1956, the desire for freedom behind it.
Yeah, Topsen's ban is permanent.
From the late 1960s until 1989, Hungary featured one of the most liberal communist regimes, whose political ties and financial indebtedness to the West began to grow from the early 1980s. It was famously dubbed as Goulash Communism, and then the Soviet Union's declining economic situation would open a window of opportunity. As Gorbachev became the leader of the Soviet Union in 1985, his policy of reform planned to save the Soviet Union from internal collapse by loosening its grip over the Eastern Bloc. Amidst this tumultuous backdrop, dialogue was initiated with the once persecuted Hungarian political.
By the way, Kim doing the humongous brain thing with pointing out that Topsen has raised a lot of money for Ukraine using Twitch's platform. I feel that's a strong thing to do. remind them of the monetary value of these streams. He has raised a substantial amount of money for Ukraine over the last 1.5 years with the help of your platform. Strong. But yeah, be active. I'm going to be on Twitter a lot more. I don't really want to be too much on Twitter during the stream. But give responses, do some retweets. Let's try to get this to Twitch, so maybe they actually do something. You never know. Like, they've allowed worse things, my dude. They're still allowing Grisha around, and Grisha is like literally connected to fucking Wagner. So I don't know. You're okay with that, but you're not okay with people making little edgy comments online? Come on. War. DeSantis. Wait, what? I wanna know what's happening with that. Who's Newsom? Who the fuck is Newsom? When is it happening? Where is it happening? I wanna know. He can raise money and be within TOS too. On one hand, I see that. On the other hand, I'm like, I want him back, so I'm biased. I think, you know how I see it. There's like different ways of breaking TOS, and I think Ukrainian being edgy on Russians is like one of the things that I would care about the least. Yeah, that's yeah. Did you not see what was in the Barbie movie? What do you think was in the Barbie movie? Also, yeah, I do think you are wrong for talking about the dangers of female supremacy. I still think that was a stupid ass fucking topic. Holy shit. Gavin Newsom absolutely destroys Sean Hannity live on his own show. You know what this reminds me of? When I was 14, watching those Ben Shapiro owns feminazis. It's like that. It's worded in a very American way. Oh, it's also on Fox News, so,
President. I have great confidence in his leadership.
I don't want him to fail.
Been able to accomplish.
I think his policies are failing.
CHIPS Act, Science Act, do you oppose that?
I will tell you, on every measure, from the economy, inflation, borders, energy, national security, he's missing in action.
Wait, but I want to challenge the premise. You said the economy, 13.1 million jobs he's created. More.
These are post-COVID jobs. Okay. You know that.
Well,
I mean, that's an artificial number.
No. Then let me stipulate this as an opportunity to engage civilly on this.
Okay.
Fair point. Your president, Donald Trump, lost 2.6 million jobs during his 4 years. We've created 13.1 million. Fine, you can maintain a COVID frame. How about the fact that Joe Biden's created more jobs, 6 times more jobs than the previous 3 Republican presidents combined?
Oh, that's gonna hurt! Interesting what happens when you put Sean Hannity up against somebody who is not just going to regurgitate the lies that he's trying to peddle. From inflation to the economy to the border.
Who is this dude?
Sean Hannity's very own show and utterly destroyed his every single point, case by case.
I think he's a man of decency and character. I'm really proud of the president. I'm proud of what he's accomplished.
Is he strong enough to be president? That's what I'm
strong enough.
talking
Look
about.
what he just did to McCarthy. He ran circles. Look at the vote card.
I didn't like the vote. I wouldn't have voted for it.
Exactly. Kevin got played by the President of the United States. I'm for results.
I don't think the American people benefit. I like the plan that would have saved $4.8 trillion. All right.
Yeah. Starting with inflation, you know, the thing that Republicans will blame Biden for, even though it's a global issue, but then if globally it's up, as Newsom points out, they won't give credit to Biden.
Question. I'm answering the ones in order. You brought up the economy. On the economy, let's talk about the economy.
You want to give him an A?
Inflation, stubborn around the globe. Let's talk about inflation. It's down 40% since last summer, 10 months in a row, 4.9%. He was just with the UK Prime Minister at 6.9%. Is that because of Biden's
I think
Fed
Biden's
policy?
economic and energy policies
directly impacted the UK's inflation?
No, I am
Or the
telling
fact that France is 5.5% or Germany's at 6.1%? On inflation, we're moving in the right direction. On the issue of the border security,
he inherited 1.4% inflation. It went up to a 40-year high after 40-year high.
Globally, because you just brought up, you were making an excuse for Trump's dismal jobs record related to COVID.
It wasn't a
but you
dismal
won't
jobs
acknowledge
record.
COVID's relationship to inflation globally. And by the way, COVID
let me
and
stop you for a
immigration
second. All right.
impacting our inflation.
Let me stop you. All right, so...
And of course, it's not Hannity unless he's trying to sing the praises of his precious cult leader, Donald Trump.
For our president, I have great confidence in his
I don't want
leadership
him to
what he's
fail.
been able to accomplish.
I think his policies are failing.
CHIPS Act, Science Act, do you oppose that?
I will tell you on every measure, from the economy, inflation, borders, energy, national security, he's missing in action.
Let's talk about them in order. Let's
Well,
talk
hang on.
Wait, but I want to
By the way, can I just hear it? I like this, how he goes, like, let's talk about them in order. I fucking love this. I fucking love people who do this. I have no goddamn idea who this man is. I have never seen this man before. But, like, when you take these arguments, when people are just bringing up a bunch of vague shit and you're like, okay, yeah, let's focus on one of them specifically. Let's talk about this. I love this. That's it. Who is this man? Is he gonna be your president or whatever the fuck? He needs to be something good. Also, I'm seeing you in chat, like, arguing about Thompson. Look, you know how I say this? I feel like you must warn people. Not must, but I feel like you should warn people before you banning them. I feel like he should have gotten a warning, and then after the warning, he should have thought about mellowing down his approach. And then if you don't see the person mellow down, I feel like then a ban is okay. Because I feel like by giving out a ban immediately, Twitch is doing quite a problematic thing of not being consistent with the way they handle out bans. Because they've allowed a lot of breaking of rules on their platform. And I do know that this is one of those things where Twitch is just unfair as fuck. They have been unfair as fuck previously too. They have been quite cruel towards smaller creators specifically. They do usually allow people with a lot of viewers to break a lot of rules before getting fully banned, but they will usually ban smaller people for way smaller offenses. So I do feel like he should have gotten a warning. I feel like a warning should have been in order, definitely. Oh, I don't think they watched his last 10 streams though. I don't think they put that much effort into this. If the whole conversation was like, yeah, you know, we watched your last few streams and like in a bunch of them you have TOS breakings and we just feel like you are not a creator who is suitable for this platform, I would understand that response. Especially because it would also mean that they put some effort into actually, you know, looking into him. I don't think they did it. I don't think they did anything like that. Which is, you know, I feel like they should have given him a warning, and then after the warning you should give out a ban. But yeah, I don't feel like they would give a shit that much. Because they need to make money. Bigger guys get a slide once in a while. Yeah, that's true, that's true, that's true. I'm not even... how to say this? It's not that I'm not against it. I am against giving extra rights to big creators, but at the same time I think it's understandable that bigger creators get extra rights, right? You know, as you say, they're bringing cash money to the platform. Of course, you know, someone like Amaranth who brings millions to the platform may break some rules sometimes. She's bringing a lot of cash money. But of course, when you have smaller creators, especially considering the fact, guys, many Twitch's creators are like, we're kind of bringing Twitch into minus. A lot of creators on Twitch are people who stream to like 0 people. A lot of creators on Twitch are people who just stream to no one, get no subs, get no activity, get nothing, right? You're doing nothing to the platform. You're just wasting time on their servers. I feel like for Twitch, maybe if you have less than 100 viewers, I feel like you are kind of losing the money more than getting it. So I understand that creators who have a smaller viewership and as such they have less subs and they bring less money to the platform, I understand that they can't break as many rules as people who obviously are bringing a lot of cash money to the platform. But still, like, just noticing a creator and doing a ban on them immediately, I don't know, at least give them a warning. Yeah, 3-day ban and then be like, okay, if you get reported after the 3-day ban and you do another slip up, then we ban you for real. But like immediately doing an indefinite ban, I don't know. Yeah, like to warn him and then be like, yeah, okay. Now that we have warned you, you're allowed to be existing. I don't know if he mellowed down since. I don't know what he has been saying after. I don't know if he changed his approach. But, you know, kind of sucks he wasn't one. Oh, he cut down on it? Oh yeah, probably smart, probably smart. I feel like he's gonna survive on YouTube then, right? Because YouTube allows some shit. YouTube allows some shit. YouTube seems to be a bit more lax on this. Also, I have to leave, holy shit. Plenty of live streams showing Russians getting absolutely blown to smithereens. I've got no idea how YouTube works. Because Dennis can't be posting videos of Russians getting blown up. Because it gets the entire thing demonetized. But then I go to live stream sometimes and I see the weirdest shit and I'm like, huh. So I don't know what's the rule. I'm not understanding the rule fully, that I feel. Amaranth? Oh yeah, Amaranth is living like a queen. Pokimane too, you know, creators like that. So even when they break rules, like Pokimane had that huge thing with watching shows on stream. You can allow this, even though it's a problem for the platform itself. You can allow this. She still brings in more money than a lawsuit's gonna take away from Twitch.tv, you know? So you don't really need to worry so much about it. You need a city full of YouTube mods to watch over everything. That too. That too. Here's him. Well, can you report it? Have you reported it? I'll report it for your creators. For certain type of content. So I guess maybe just like enough reports and it piles up. It's like NAFA on Twitter, you know. Enough NAFA users report a Twitter account for sharing bullshit and they get banned off Twitter regardless from the fact that Twitter doesn't really have a proper set of rules nor a TOS. Pro-Russia people, yeah, same. I'm trying not to be... it's the stupidest way to say it. I'm not being a snitch on like edgy jokes and stuff like that. I have reported only a few accounts that were like really, really bad. But you know, it works on Twitter, and I feel like if it works on Twitter, which has probably the shittiest rules when it comes to this in the universe, I feel like it has to work on YouTube too. So, you know, we could probably just go and report it and get rid of it. But also I have to be leaving, holy shit. I have to be going. I have been here for longer than what I wanted to be here. I planned to end like an hour ago. I have been here for way too long, and I don't know how to feel about that. He has 20 viewers on YouTube, 39 kick. Most nights he got over 100 on Twitch. Yeah, I feel kind of sad that it's very hard to carry over the viewers. It's very, very, very hard to... Hey, do you want to go to Mr. Gek? It's very hard to carry over the viewers from one platform to another. Like, unless you're genuinely a celebrity, it's very, very, very hard to do something like this. Like, I don't know, I switched for Dobson, right? I went to Kick. I started using my Kick account, actually. I had it before. But I started using it now, only because of Dobson. But I don't know how many people would do something like this for their streamers. So it kind of sucks, you know? Like, you get banned off one platform for such a stupid little reason, and then you're just gone in a way. I don't know. Man, it sucks. I just want him back. I miss him. We have a spread of that kind of content. I'm all for anyone using Twitch. I'm all for anyone stressing. But a lot of these female streamers use their bodies as money makers. Not shaming them, you do, but clearly when you have private pics in bio and choice of outfits and cleavage close to camera all times, you see the issue. My thing is that I don't see the issue. How to say this? It annoys me sometimes, depending on how they do this. But I don't really see the issue with like posting private pics around. I'm not a person seeing a problem with that. Like, I don't know, when it comes to Amaranth, for example, I'm not seeing a problem with that. I follow Invader V. Have you seen Invader V's streams at any time? Like, I think she's kind of chill to watch, actually. I like the way she sounds. If I ever get a microphone as good as hers is, that would be fucking great. But her entire point is just like looking very, very cute and being very enjoyable to listen to. She has some good takes on stuff. She watches a lot of she reads a lot. Her vocabulary is really, really good. She often comments on Simpsons, so I found that to be very interesting too. But I don't know. Like I don't see a problem with content like that. So I don't see a problem with Amaranth making a living of it. I don't see a problem with any other creator making content of it. It does annoy me in some way. If that makes sense. It annoys me in some way if they do it in specific ways that get me salty. Like, you know, the whole thing with like yoga streams and stuff like that. That shit annoys me. Think with like, oh, I'm doing an exercising stream, but then like your camera is behind your butt at all times. Shit like that. That annoys me if you're like pretending it's something else, and then if you're streaming in categories where you don't belong to. That's like, But apart from that, like as long as you're owning up to it, I'm chill with it. Yeah, tactical mirrors, that stuff, it like annoys me. Especially if the person is trying to, how to say it? If the person is trying to pretend that they are unaware of it. You know, that's what gets me. That's what gets me, my dude. I remember there was this one streamer. She got banned. Like, look, a lot of Twitch drama, I know because I was a mod on the subreddit for a while, okay? So when I talk about Twitch drama, I know about stuff that happened like 3-4 years ago. 5, I don't know when I was modding that. But there was this one woman, and she was live streaming, and basically she had some sort of like a cosplay outfit on, and it had like those, you know, flaps in the front, and then in the back, but there were no panty part of the outfit. There was no pants. It was just like front and back of the skirt, right? But the sides were open, so you can see her sides on it. I don't know how to explain to you, my dude. But basically, she was live streaming in that cosplay outfit, and she did the thing with like sitting with her legs like crossed, and because she had those, it's just like opened on the side, and it opens until here, so it's like a flappy thing, goes down. Basically, you could see her entire pussy on stream. And I remember she got banned, and so many people were like, oh, she genuinely didn't know, she genuinely had no idea her outfit was that revealing. She knew. You know, like for the whole live stream, she knew what she was doing. It's just that she was strategically placing the outfit so you wouldn't actually see what's there, right? But like then at one point she moved a bit too strongly and you could actually see it and people reported her. But like you knew what you were doing. Why do you pretend? And then people were like, oh yeah, you know, cosplay authenticity and stuff like that. The anime character has this outfit, so she has to have it too. Like, bro, why are you pretending not to know what you're doing? That annoys me, right? Like, if you want to show booba and you're acknowledging the fact that your boobs are a huge part of the stream, I'm GG with that. I see absolutely no problem with that. When you're trying to pretend you're doing it for cosplay authenticity, that's when I'm like, Well, you'd sound much better if the mic was much closer to you. I need to test that out. I'm gonna test out the mic closeness. Black Sea Fleet being damaged. It's not being destroyed, unfortunately, we're waiting. But it has been damaged, so no one goes live without knowing you don't have pants. Yeah, like, come on. So the same thing with those mirrors, you know, and then they get reported for these mirrors, and then they're like, well, am I supposed to rearrange my room so a mirror is not placed there? I'm sorry, I didn't know you could see my bare ass in it. Like, bitch, you knew. You put the mirror there yourself. You knew what you were doing. Come on. I want to know. The fakeness annoys me, but just, you know, you're showing your ass and you're like, yeah, I'm showing my ass because my ass is looking hot. By all means, I support you. I hope all of you do streams showing your asses. Maybe not on Twitch, because it's against the OS. Maybe on Kick. I don't know what sort of rules Kick has. It looks like a I can't trade Mr. Kick. It looks like a cheaper version. So yeah. By the way, since we can't trade this man, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and I'm gonna give you a link to Dobson. Where is my man? Where is my man? By the way, for those of you people who joined today and you don't know about this because you're losers, I am Topsen's main bitch, okay? I am Topsen's main bitch. I need to find the clip of this on YouTube to save it around so I can flex with it every once in a while. But I am officially Topsen's main bitch and he said he's going to pimp me out first, okay? Okay, so just saying, I'm very close to your celebrity of choice. Look, he said it, okay? He said it. I need to save the clip of that, just so I can flex with it whenever people come here like, oh, I miss Topsen. I'm gonna be like, yeah, no one misses him as much as I do. What? Started to hear something very heavy flying around my house at deep night for a couple hours. Bro. Seems some Estonians reported that too. Bro, that's terrifying. Bro. Are you okay, dude? I hope you're okay. I hope you're safe. Holy shit. Guys, go to Topsen. I'm leaving the stream. Go look at Topsen and I don't know. Go bully the fuck out of him. See you next stream. Good luck existing. Tomorrow is Croatian Victory Day, so you know, from the morning you wake up, you thank God for the existence of Croatia, and then you can do your chores for today. I've got no idea what Destiny is doing. Last thing I saw, he was on dating show stuff. Is that a dating show thing Topsen's watching? He goes to like dating show bullshit, and that annoys me. It's very high school conversations. It's very childish. All of it is just stupid. So I haven't really watched it, to be honest. Until he gets back. He went back into commenting on Ukraine on Twitter. So if he goes back into that on his streams, I'm gonna be watching it. But as long as he's into like dating men versus women bullshit,